And welcome to the Young Thug RICO-Trial. Mr. Murphy has been on the stand for ever, but finally we are at the stage where he's getting cross-examined. As per usual, we will do a recap of the day before afternoon. Lucky for me, that's not long. On Friday, not especially, but some interesting things happened at the end of Friday, just before, let's see here, maybe 45 minutes before and the end of the day. So I will skip the rest of the prosecution's direct examination because all they did was reading from the plea deal. And it's more or less identical to Slugs. So, yeah, not much need there. So, a bit of a controversy. Mr. Murphy, cross-examination, and Mr. Harvey stands up and says something. Well, it's going to be more interesting than the direct examination. Welcome to the show. All right, let's get right into it. And we're there. And that one's better. Okay, everybody ready? Let's go.
From that red box that you talked about in your interview.
They didn't give me money from nothing.
Did anyone from YSL give you the green dot that you talked about in your interview with the second victim?
Nobody gave me nothing.
And you talked about, since you got out of jail, that you do not have a relationship with Mr. Williams, who you once considered your brother.
So I can't ask that again?
Did you tell me a few days ago that you do not have a relationship with Mr. Williams, who you once considered your brother?
I said I had better relationships to worry about when I got out, like my kids and family.
Do you currently have a relationship with Mr. Williams?
No.
Do you have a current relationship with Shannon?
No.
What about Yang?
No.
Were you disowned by YSL because you told on another YSL member?
No.
And is telling, snitching on other gang members forbidden in the gang?
I've heard that before.
And did you do that here with Nard?
Yes.
But isn't it weird that both with Slug, Mr. White, and Mr. Murphy, cops told YSL that these people talked and nothing happened to them? Isn't that strange? This extremely dangerous criminal gang. And nothing happens to people who talk. It's almost as if it's not an actual gang, or criminal gang at least. Isn't that strange?
All right.
This thing has no further questions.
Cross.
All right, cross-examination. Finally. But, yeah, it will be interesting. Let's see here. Let's get my banner up. Eon. What? Spelling. There. Mr. Murphy cross-examination. Woo! Hi, Debbie Johnson from Sarasota, Florida. Hello, Rachel, Teddy, Gwendolyn, and you over at Rumble, and the rest of you here on the YouTubes, and you who are currently listening in from Twitter. Hit the like button. Well, you already know that.
Mr. Sharp? Okay.
Okay, we are beginning with Miss.
You got some theme music or something like that? Anybody? Okay. Just thought I'd ask. Okay.
I do.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Whenever you're ready, madam.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Murphy.
Good afternoon.
I'm attorney Angela D. Williams, and I represent the Blanks. So I know, I'm gonna talk about your prison life, because I know that you went to prison. You testified you went to prison. And when you were in prison, you saw a lot of different gangs in jail, right?
Yes.
In fact, gangs are so prevalent, you knew who was in a gang and who wasn't, right?
I can tell by posture.
You could tell by posture? Okay. And you saw non-gang members get robbed?
Hey, Pharaoh!
Objection made.
I'll stand the objection. Just rephrase, madam.
You notice non-gang members have things taken from them?
Yeah, I've seen it before.
Okay. You saw non-gang members get stabbed?
Yes.
You saw non-gang members get assaulted?
Objection made.
In prison.
I'll stand the
Sorry.
objection. It's the form. Yeah, you rephrase it. Rephrase it.
You saw, in prison, you saw non-gang members get assaulted.
Yes.
In prison, you saw non-gang members get killed.
Yes.
And you noticed it was safer to be in a gang as a matter of self-preservation.
Objection, speculation.
I'll sustain the objection. Why don't you just rephrase, madam?
So, sorry. When you were in prison, you knew it was safer to be in a gang, to be safe.
I felt like it would have been safer for you.
And you were charged with criminal street gang charges before, right?
Yes.
And you understood through your attorney what street gang is.
Yes.
And you know that being in a gang is not by itself illegal.
Objection, Your Honor.
Basis.
No question. Illegal conclusion.
I'll sustain the objection.
No further questions. Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
Okay.
No.
Anybody? Mr. Sharp? All right, go ahead.
Miss Williams. Easy, just going through the motions. Hello, Ghostery. Good to have you here. And this is Mr. Shard. And he will conduct most of all of the cross-examination. He is still doing it today, but we are just watching the final part of Friday, and then we will go into today's. And by then you will understand. And by then you will understand why I on the thumbnail said, Mr. Kokomo, can you pause? Because there's a lot of video.
Judge allows me just to get.
You may.
How you doing today?
How you doing? I'm all right.
I'm all right, thank you. My name is Max Shard. I represent N.Starow.
Okay.
We're going to start out discussing the April 12th, 2015 incident at the sit down.
Okay.
I'm going to say some names, and I want to know if prior to that date, you knew who these people were. D'Angelo White.
No, sir.
How about Christian James?
No, sir.
How about Dexter Montgomery?
No.
May I approach?
You may, but just keep your voice up, please.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm approaching Mr. Montgomery with States Exhibit 3BB, 5BB, 6BB, and 7BB. Could you look at those pictures? Those individuals that you're looking at, did you know any of those people before April 12th of 2015?
I never seen none of them day in my life.
Okay. Did you have any beef or disagreement with any of those people?
No,
Okay. Are you aware of anyone in the courtroom here having any beef or disagreement with any of those people?
Objection on speculation.
I stand.
I asked if he's aware. If you are aware,
Just rephrase it.
do you know of any disagreements between anyone in this courtroom and any of those 4 people?
no.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Montgomery, Mr. Murphy, we did not speak in court yesterday, did we?
I think I nodded my head when I seen you, but we didn't talk.
Okay, we didn't talk. How about after court?
No, sir.
Okay, did your lawyer ask you to come to court a little early today?
He made sure I've been here every day. He called me, make sure I'm up where you at.
And yesterday, you were asked questions about statements you made in 2015 and 2016, correct?
Yes, sir.
And those would be statements you made about 8, 9 years ago.
A long time ago, sir.
Okay. Did you have an opportunity today, before court began, to review the proffer statement you made in February 16th of 2016?
Yes.
And did you do that with Mr. Kokomo?
I don't know his name, but it was.
Mr. Kokomo, will you please stand?
Yeah, that's him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was I present?
No, sir.
Were any other individuals present?
It was just me. I can't remember how you pronounce his name.
Kokomo.
Mr. Kokomo. It was just me.
He's world famous now, Mr. Kokomo. So did Mr. Kokomo tell you anything about what you need to say or anything like that?
No, I asked him, sir. He like, I can't answer that.
You tried to ask him a question and
Yeah,
he said he
said
can't
I
give you any answers.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was he able to play for you the proffer that you gave in 2016?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And watching that proffer listening to that proffer statement you made in 2016, did that remind you of some of the things that you said in 2016?
Yes, it reminded me I was mentally ill and on drugs too, but yeah, it reminded me of what I said.
Did it remind you also about the incident
Yes,
from April 12th, 2015?
yes.
Okay. And Mr. Kokomo, if you would please approach, if Your Honor would allow, to and show Mr. Murphy on your screen what you reviewed.
This is interesting. So this means for throughout all of the prosecution's direct examination, they never actually showed him the proffer he made in 2016. Never reminded him, just asked him, just talking into record about the statements that he said. But apparently, the defense might have found something. I don't know what it is. But this also speaks again on the weakness in the prosecution's case. Because instead of showing him and maybe doing some impeachment, they chose not to. Why is the prosecution scared of what's in the recording? That is a question I ask myself here.
DS10. Go.
Mr. Kokomo is a large deal.
DS10, which is. No, I'm not. I can play it. Oh, I'm hungry. Yes.
The whole thing.
Yeah, I want to do how I want to do.
Do you show me?
You didn't open it.
Okay.
We play a couple seconds for Mr.
Is DS10 already been admitted?
It has not.
Well, I think you need to probably authenticate it.
Well, and that's why we played it for him earlier.
You can't.
You can't play it for him unless he's.
I understand. And
Admitted.
correct. And he needs to authenticate it by hearing it because it's an audio statement.
Well, unless someone has some headphones for him to do it.
Okay, all right, we can do it with the headphones. That's fine.
Hey, Patty.
Mr. Copeland,
I don't know what it means.
did you hear enough of the statement to know what that statement is?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And is what will be submitted as DS-10A, is that a fair and accurate representation of the proffer statement you gave on February 16th, 2016?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, subject to previous discussions that we've had, I would move to admit DS-10A into evidence.
Is DS-10A the entirety of it or just part one or part two?
It is part one.
Then we would object because we believe that the entirety of the statement.
I have-
A and B.
I have no problem with that.
I would, DS-10 is admitted and can be published as you see fit, and
Subject to,
subject to the appropriate earlier objections and direction of the court.
And Your Honor, the statement was clarity, will DS-10 actually be A and B, since A is on part one
If-
and B is part two?
if we're going to admit the whole thing, then we can just do DS-10.
Well, okay, then, any further objection to DS-10?
No.
All right, DS-10 is admitted.
Mr. Kokomo, I'm going to meet you again. Mr. Murphy, were you also able to review, did you have an opportunity to review a surveillance video?
Yeah, finally. It was the gas station.
Okay. Your Honor, may Mr. Kokomo approach the witness after he shows his statement?
What's it marked as?
DS-9.
All right.
Hey, Patty. Anything spicy happening? Depends
May
on
Mr.
what
Kokomo
you
approach?
mean by
Is it
spicy.
shown to,
It has, and it's been shared via email as well.
okay, all right, you may approach.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Murphy, what's been marked as DS-9, what do you recognize that as?
The date at the gas station with the I don't know his name, but shooting.
From April 12th, 2015,
I think
from the
that's-
Citgo gas station on Jonesboro Road? And was it surveillance video?
Yes.
And is that a fair and accurate representation of the events of April 12th, 2015?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time,
Again, it's very
we would
strange that
ask
the
to admit
prosecution
DS-9
didn't want this
into
to be
evidence.
Any
played.
objection to DS-9?
No.
All right, DS-9 is admitted, published as you see fit.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Murphy, I'm going to ask you some questions about April 12th, 2015.
Okay.
If you remember, I'm going to ask you to answer the questions. If you don't remember, I may ask if you remember giving a previous statement about that.
Okay.
Okay? And just be honest, we'll go from there. Okay?
Yes, sir.
First of all, April 12th, 2015, you were in a house before you went to the gas station, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That house belonged to someone you call Hot Rod, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That house was off of Bromack Road in Atlanta, correct?
I can't remember the road, but it was in Atlanta.
That house was within a couple minutes drive of the Citgo. It was
Yes.
close.
Yes.
The house was off of Browns Mill Road, is that correct? Would that be the main road that would take you
Yes.
to the house?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That house that you were at on April 12th, 2015, you used to go to that house to get high,
Yes.
correct? Okay. You were a drug addict on April 12th, 2015, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You used to pop pills, correct?
Yes.
And specifically Percocet.
Yes.
Did you also pop other pills?
Yes.
Tell me what other pills you would pop at that time period.
Xanax, Seroquel.
Okay. And you would also take Molly, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And can you explain what Molly is?
It's I don't know it's MDAD or I forgot what it's the chemical. but-
MDMA?
Yeah, that.
Okay. And how does Percocet, how would that affect you?
It's supposed to make like pain go away, I think, but like if you
Well, I'm asking how it would affect you. Why did you take it?
it get you high.
Okay, and when you say get you high, does it make you sleepy? Does it make you hyper? That's what I'm asking. The
Oh,
effect it
like
has on you.
okay. It just have you up like floating.
Floating. Okay, what about the Molly?
It's the upper. It keeps you up.
Okay, and you would take Molly 4 times a week or so, correct?
Every day.
Every day? Typically, you would use about 1 to 1.5 grams a day. Is that correct?
John Commun, I think I know the answer, but what is the difference between defense counsel asking questions about the position they had with the witness and Love's questions last week? I'm not entirely sure at the moment, but whatever the cross-examination is about is to distance their clients from him. And by, for example, if he was constantly high, then of course his memory is somewhat impaired. And he also said in the direct examination that he really don't remember much of the February 2016 interview with the cops, because right before he got high, so during that interview, he was stoned out of his face. So, yeah.
Yeah, it depends on how much money or how much money I had, but yeah.
Is it true that one of the big limitations on how much you would take is how much you could afford?
Yes.
That night in particular, on April 12, 2015, you were getting high at Hot Rod's spot, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You were on the couch in the front of the house, correct? Getting high?
I think so. I can't really recall. I think I was on the
Okay.
couch.
Did you take 3 to 4 grams of Molly? Did you take more than you usually take?
Yeah, I think I remember that because I know I was up probably about a week straight, about 5 days straight.
Do you recall saying in your proffer statement in February 2016 that you took 3 to 4 grams of Molly?
I heard me say that on the recording.
Okay, and that would be about 3 times your normal amount?
Yeah.
Okay, and you also took Percocet that day, correct?
Yes.
2 to 3 pills?
Yes.
Okay, and you recall saying that in your proffer?
Yes, I heard that recording.
From your recollection, to the extent that you have one, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest you've ever been, 1 being sober, where were you that night?
11.
Okay.
Yeah. On a scale to 1 to 10, how high were you? 11. Yeah, that's a lot of drugs in his system during that proffer. I mean, if anybody that high making statements, no. I mean, credibility, about 0.
So let's talk about the people that were at that house, at Hot Rod's house on April 12th, 2015.
Sorry. Lucent Till says, aren't you supposed to ask people coming in to make a statement / confession whether they're impaired? Yeah. And apparently the cops did. And he told them, I'm high as a kite. I popped a lot of Molly and I take pills. And they still conducted the interview. But I'm not surprised, because everything we heard about the Atlanta Police Department regarding their ethics, they really don't care at all. They want statements they can use. And we know from testimony in this trial, Detective Velasquez erasing statements he didn't like until people told him what he wanted, which is it is a criminal act. So Detective Velasquez, if I ever get the chance to ask him a question, that would be the one. When did you decide to conduct criminal act as a police officer. And then I better run out of Atlanta.
While you were getting high, okay? You were there.
Yes.
Fatty was there,
Yes.
correct? A man named Nard, whose government name is Demise McMullen, was there, correct?
Yes.
Nard was in the back,
I think I can't really remember what he was there, but he was there.
okay? And was there another person there as well? Do you recall?
Oh, I can't really remember. I think.
Do you recall in your February 2016 agreement saying that a J was also present?
I don't recall saying it, but I probably did say that though.
Okay, well, could you explain to me, and you might not use that term anymore, and I don't like using that term, but could you explain what a J is?
Somebody who like homeless, hung out on drugs.
Okay, when you said a J was present in that house, J is short for junkie,
Yeah,
correct?
chunky. Yeah.
Okay. You said you know Jeffrey Williams, correct?
Yes.
Jeffrey Williams was not at the house that night, correct?
No.
Okay, you said you know Shannon Stillwell.
Yes.
He was not at the house that night, correct?
No.
Okay, I believe you said you knew DeMonte Kendrick, correct?
Yes.
He was not at the house that night, correct? Okay, now these other gentlemen that you do not know, or said you did not know, I want you to look at them. Were any of these gentlemen in the house that night?
No.
Okay. Your relationship with Nard, who was in the house that night, how long had you known Nard? Do you remember?
Probably like a year before that.
Okay, is it true that Nard had recently been released from doing a bid?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, and your relationship with Nard was essentially one that you would get high together, correct?
Yes.
Nard
Sure
was an
was.
addict too, wasn't he?
Yes.
He would pop pills, correct?
Yes.
He would use Molly, correct?
Yes.
Was he high that night?
Yes.
Okay. Your understanding is a phone call was made to Nard, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and Nard came from the back, went to the kitchen and handed you a chopper
Yes.
on April 12th, 2015.
Yes.
Okay. And he said, let's ride. Isn't that correct?
I think it was something like that.
Okay. You didn't know at that time what any of this was about. You just knew that Nard gave you a gun, correct?
Patty asked, did Mr. Steele cross yet? This seems to be Mr. Shard's cross-examination, and for all the rest of Friday, and up until I stopped listening in on today's trial, it was still Mr. Shard who did the cross-examination. I would assume Mr. Steele if he has questions, he will do them after. It seems like Mr. Shard and Mr. Steele more or less have divided the cross-examinations between each other. It actually makes sense because it unloads a lot of pressure if you can tag team, so to speak.
Yes.
When I say chopper, we're talking about an assault rifle.
Yeah. It shoot bigger bullets than a handgun.
Okay. And after Nard handed you that gun, Nard, yourself, and Fatty left in a white truck, correct?
Yes.
A white Nitro
I don't know what kind it was. It was white though.
that belongs to who you call OG Bentley.
Yes.
Okay. And Nard was driving, correct?
Yes.
And he had a
Okay.
assault rifle.
Yes.
You were in the passenger seat, correct?
Yes.
And Fatty was in the back.
Yes.
And you drove to the Citgo, or I should say Nard drove to the Citgo,
Yes.
okay? And that took a minute or two.
Yeah. No time.
You said no time?
Yeah. No time.
Okay, and in that ride to the Citgo, at that time, on the ride, did you have any conversation with Nard to the point that you understood what this was all about?
I don't recall if I did.
When you arrived at the Citgo, you and Nard both got out of the car, correct? Or the truck?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, the truck parked in the Citgo parking lot and both of you got out.
Yes,
Okay, and both of you were armed with assault rifles.
yes.
Okay, and when you arrived, you
I'm
saw
going up to 1.5.
OG Bentley and Hop, correct?
I saw OG Bentley, yeah.
Okay, you saw OG Bentley, and OG Bentley was in the store, correct?
I think so.
By the front door of the store.
He was there. I don't really remember like where he was at though.
Okay. Do you recall in your proffer saying that you saw OG Bentley in the store and you told Bentley to come out the store?
I didn't hear that part. I watched
Okay.
it, but I didn't hear that part. I mean, I listened to it, but I didn't hear that part.
Okay. Do you remember what OG Bentley looked like when you arrived at that Citgo?
You mean that day?
When you arrived?
Do I remember what he looked like?
Yes, not what he looked like. Like, what does OG Bentley look like? Did he look scared?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, he looked scared? Is that the truth?
Yeah, that's what I said in the interview. So, I mean, yeah, I think so.
Okay. And did OG Bentley point at another car?
Mm,
Or did Nard
I
point at
think,
another
yeah, I
car?
think it was Nard.
You think it was Nard that pointed at
Yeah.
another car after speaking to OG Bentley?
Yeah.
Okay. And that other car that was pointed out to you, was that the car that these other gentlemen, as we later find out, were in
Yeah, that was later found out. I couldn't see who was in it at the time though.
at the time? So a car was pointed out to you.
Mhm.
And was OG Bentley at that point still in the store, to your recollection?
I can't remember. I know when the car got pointed at, I went toward the car.
Okay, so we're about to get there. So when that car was pointed out, what did you do?
I went toward the car.
You went towards the car with the assault rifle?
Yes,
Okay. And what was your purpose of going to the car?
trying to see who was in it.
Okay. And why were you interested in who was in the car?
I was just trying to see what's going on.
What did it matter to you who was in the car? How did that car concern you?
I figured that's what we came for, to see who was in the car,
Okay.
to see what was going on.
And you ran up to the car, and then what happened?
The back window came down. I think it was the back or the front. One of the windows came down.
A window in the car?
Yeah, as I was like getting up on the car.
And did you see movement in the car?
Yes,
And how did that affect you?
I backed up. Like
You said you what?
I backed up.
You backed up.
Hmm.
Why did you back up?
I couldn't tell what they were doing. I had 10 windows.
So were you backing up in caution? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Even though you were armed with an assault rifle,
Yes.
you were backing up. Is it your understanding at this point that Bentley called y'all to the scene because they were scared that the gentlemen in the car were plotting to rob them? And that's why they wouldn't exit the store.
Objection, speculation as to what the other men were going to do.
I stand objection.
Were Hot Rod and Bentley refusing to exit the store until you arrived?
Yes.
With guns?
Yes.
Did Hot Rod and Bentley have any guns on them?
I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Did you ever see them with guns that night
No.
in the store? Okay. Okay, after you ran up and then backed off with the car, Nard also ran up to the car, and he also had an assault rifle, correct?
I didn't see that part.
Okay. Let's just, with what you saw, you ran up to the car with an assault rifle, and as a result, the car that you ran up on sped off,
Yeah.
correct? They left the parking lot.
They did.
Objection, speculation.
I stand objection.
It's not speculation. You saw them leave the parking lot. Okay. And once they left the parking lot,
Bless you.
and let me back up. Where that car was right next to the car that that Bentley and Hot Rod had come to the gas station in, correct?
Yeah, I found it out after they pulled off.
Okay. So once the car left the parking lot that you ran up on, Bentley and Hot Rod were able to exit the store and get back to their car, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And that's what they did once that other car left.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the car with the other gentleman in it that you ran up on left the parking lot and went down Jonesboro Road, correct?
I couldn't see where they went from the video, but they pulled off from right there where they was at.
Okay. Isn't it true that in your proffer statement, you said that the car with the other gentleman in it went down Jonesboro Road towards the cemetery?
Yeah, I heard him say that in the
Okay.
recording.
And then once that car left, you and Nard were able to get back in the car that you came in, and Bentley and Hot Rod got in the car that they were in, correct?
Yes.
And there was also a woman and children in their car, correct?
Yes.
So that car that they were in, that was right next to the car you ran up on, had a child in it, 2 children in it, correct?
Objection, speculation.
I stand question. You were phrasing.
Did you see the children?
Yes.
Okay. Did that car have children in it?
Yes.
Okay. So you scared a car off and got them away from the car with the 2 children in it, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so the car you scared off went down Jonesboro Road by the cemetery is what you said in your proffer. And you all went down Brownsville Road, correct?
Objection, second, is he's the car off.
I stand objection.
Okay, the car that left after you ran up on it went down Jonesboro Road towards the cemetery, correct?
Yes.
And you and Nard and Hot Rod and Bentley and the two children and the lady went down Browns Mill Road, correct?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Kokomo, could I have you come up here for a second? Are you familiar with the area?
I grew up around that area.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. I might not need Mr. Kokomo. Headed south on, if I leave the Citgo and head south on Jonesboro Road, and you leave the Citgo and head southwest on Browns Mill Road, as long as both of us stay straight, we're never going to meet up, are we?
There's no way.
It's not going to intersect. Okay. But your cars eventually did intersect, correct?
Yes.
And the cars intersected. The cars intersected because the car that you chased off took a right on Harper Road to get back to Browns Mill Road, correct?
Yeah, I don't remember what they road. I think that's the name of it. I don't remember the name of it, but they made a right off of Jonesboro Road. They would get them back to Brownsville.
And what happened was Nard was driving down Browns Mill Road with you back in the passenger seat and Fatty in the back, correct?
Now, this is interesting because this indicates that it is the other car that was the aggressor. If true. If true. Don't know, but really not how the prosecution played out the events.
Yes.
And Nard saw that same car driving up the road that connects, that you don't know the name of, towards Browns Mill Road.
Yes.
And the car you were in, the white truck, was at the intersection. At a stop sign.
I think it's the other way around. I think we was going down the street and they was coming up on the intersection.
Okay, okay. And your cars were coming together again.
Mhm.
You didn't even see this car coming back towards the white Nitro, did you?
No, they're not on my side of the car. Coming from that way, you would have. You can't. There's no way I could have seen them.
Okay. And Nard, the driver, said he saw the car coming at y'all,
Mhm.
correct?
Yes.
And Nard said,
Objection, hearsay.
it's not for the truth of the matter asserted. It's and the state elicited testimony about this very state, the same statement.
Still hearsay.
They elicited.
I'm saying objection.
Okay. Did Nard indicate that he saw the car coming?
Yes.
And did Nard pull out his assault rifle from his floorboard?
Yes.
Did he roll down his window on the driver's side, which was on the side that they were approaching?
Yes.
Mr. Steelman? Sorry.
Can you and Ms. Hilton come up for a photo, please?
What is that? What is that? Could it be? Could it be? Sidebar counter 132! Hey, sidebar! And of course, sound guy at the court forgets to put. Let's see what happened. The final minutes. Of Friday, so we can get into Saturday. No, sorry.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
Monday.
please be seated. All right, let me recap what I talked with Mr. Short and Ms. Hilton at the bench. You can add or delete or augment anything that the court says. We just had a conversation about stopping for today. Mr. Short did ask me to continue. He said he had about another 10 minutes as a stopping point. However, the court, having in its wise discretion, knowing that lawyers often are terrible managers of time, and it is double that, and given the fact it's Friday at this point in time, I may.
Really, Judge? Really? You, Judge, are making jokes about lawyers having bad time management? The only reason we are here and still listening to prosecution's case in chief is because of you, Your Honor, because you cannot set time limits.
The executive decision to stop at this point in time. So, counsel, do you have anything else in terms of add or additions or deletions?
No, Your Honor.
Sir? I'll give you that. Okay, but okay, all right. But thank you, sir. I appreciate that. All right. Any other inquiry of me, ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time? Okay, counsels, we're going to start at 8:45, so you need to be here. We will complete him tomorrow, just in case.
Yes.
Rapidly come. All right, I would advise you to have a witness or two in pocket, so just in case.
Yes.
Please do not come to me and say, Judge, we didn't call anybody for today, because sometimes, things extra call so we can work.
Today. I don't think it'll be by 5, but we will get the list over for next week for today, for next week today. And the exhibit list. So we'll be sending up, the witnesses should be coming, I think, momentarily. And, thought that
Okay,
might
well,
be-
when will you have it? Because it's supposed to be by 5 o'clock today. I know that you I know there's 4 of you at the table here at this point in time. So I know there's a few more people back to your office.
So the witness list, definitely by 5, because that's what we've,
All right.
it's the exhibit list. I should have been clearer.
Okay.
The exhibits and exhibit list.
And when can defense counsels in the court expect that?
Today, they'll have an iteration today.
Okay, by midnight?
By midnight, for sure. By 11:59.
Yeah. It really doesn't matter. Whatever the judge says, the prosecution don't give a shit. The prosecution will make everything as late as humanly possible. Yeah, and the judge, okay.
Okay, all right.
Yep. All right, that was end of Friday. Now it's Monday. Let's go to.
That's right.
Let's go to. Oh, sorry. Stop doing that. There.
When you heard
Finding the right. There. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. All right. Now it's time for today. And something I haven't done in quite some time. I haven't done a swoop for weeks. Swoop! That, ladies and gentlemen, everybody who is new here, that is my Norwegian fire-farting dragon. That's my swoop, and I stand by it. All right, Monday.
Ms. Love, good morning. Good morning. All right.
You all have to remind me to do my swoops because I can't remember for the life of me.
Okay, our jurors are here. What issues do you have before we go ahead and call them out? I've seen your colloquy between one another this weekend. I'll include the last email that was sent by Ms. Love that kind of encapsulates the entire string as the next court's exhibit.
Yeah, what happened during the weekend, Your Honor?
Okay,
Hello.
so Mr. Steele or any defense counsel, anything with the state's evidence at this point?
Good morning, sir, and good morning to everybody. Your Honor, I did file a motion limine number 48, which you should have a copy of yesterday. That does go through some of the states. They gave us a PowerPoint. I could not open it till Sunday, and I appreciate Mr. Adkins helping me send it in a different format. So I articulate that. There's a person on their witness list, 2 people on their witness list, but 1 person who they have on their witness list to call who, to my knowledge, and if I'm wrong, I ask the state to correct me, I have not heard back from them. I did not know about this witness on a witness list until April 3rd. And I can't open their attachments I was going to get with the state. I'm sure they can help me do that. And it's allegedly, from what I could tell, a cell phone, I guess a supposed expert, never been qualified as an expert. I've never seen a CV plotting.
I covered the Daubert hearings. There were cell phone experts there. Now, Mr. Steele is saying this is a completely new expert. They have not proffered. No Daubert hearing, no nothing. Who is about to testify this week. Welcome to the crap show. The prosecution cannot, they cannot, how do I say this? They couldn't play fair if they had a pistol to their head. They cannot play fair.
If we had a Daubert hearing on
No,
this expert as well?
no, I didn't even know about the person. And look, if I'm wrong and the state said, hey, he was on a earlier witness list and I missed it, I apologize. I don't see it. But I was told about April 3rd. And then, anyway, that stuff can go later, in my opinion, because it's not dealing with Mr. Murphy. But, you know, whatever you want. But
Those are the phone records, okay, and the expert.
those are phone records and experts. And then the state has a whole bunch of, they gave us a PowerPoint with, I don't remember, 100, I really don't remember, attachments to it. We got it, I was able to open it yesterday, but they did send it to us about 11:44 Friday evening. I just couldn't access it. And I have a lot of issues to raise with this honorable court about those. There's videos, music videos of Mr. Williams, I don't believe would come in. And I know what you ruled, but you also said it's conditional. You have to do 403 in the state of the Labor Profit Foundation. And there's Jimmy Winfrey shooting a automatic weapon in like a range and allegedly.
Yeah, I ruled on that one already, I believe. So is that the weapon that he's got a purported switch or whatever?
No, different.
Okay,
You
all
didn't
right.
rule on that. You
Okay.
have memory. That was allegedly found in Mr. Williams' home. This is
All right, okay.
anyway, and it's supposedly Jeffrey Williams off camera saying, you know, shoot it or let it rip. I don't know the exact quote. I don't know why that's coming into evidence. Then you have jail calls. I have been given many CDs of jail calls. It does not, it's Jimmy Winfrey, does not articulate or specify what jail call or jail calls we're talking about. So there's hundreds, there's probably thousands, but hundreds or more jail calls. Anyway, I put all that in there. In addition to that, on Friday morning, this past Friday morning, I gave in the spirit that we're trying to share information early to raise the happy judge informed matter court. Gave Mr. Williams, I gave my cheat sheet to Mr. Williams, exhibit number 220. I gave it to Ms. Hilton. I told her that it's my cheat sheet, but I gave it to her anyway. It was a copy, it's what I had on hard copy. And then Ms. Hilton asked where they're posters of Mr. Williams' events. Where I get them from? I told her I gave them from the state, Discovery. I told her where, and she asked me where. I gave her where in Discovery. The state's objecting to that. I will be trying to use that with Mr. Walter Murphy. So that would be the first issue. And that's what Prosecutor Love was responding to, and the state's objecting. And I will still try to get it in before Mr. Murphy. I know I'm not on cross yet, so all this may be a little premature, but that's another issue for the court. The cheat sheet that I said, I broke it down and I gave like the date of the event and the location of the event. That is not part of what the state gave me. My real exhibit I gave, and I told Ms. Love, I told Ms. Hilton that Friday, but I gave the real exhibit yesterday, the Honorable Court, court reporter Weaver has the real exhibit that I intend to use.
Okay.
I hope I'm making sense. I'm just trying to do it.
So the first thing that I got to take up is the issue of which will come up first, and that's the posters and et al.
Yes, and it's 220, and then it's like A through, I don't know, double.
Yeah, I've seen those. Okay, all right, State.
Thank you, Judge. And I'm glad that Mr. Steele clarified, what the exhibit is, because on Friday, I was listening as he brought the exhibit over, and he did say that that itself was the exhibit. So we were unaware, both Ms. Hilton and I, that that was supposed to have been a cheat sheet and not the exhibit itself. Part of our objections did lie in the fact that it appeared on Friday that he would be tendering an exhibit that he himself had compiled and drawn up. He would be attempting to get that in through Mr. Murphy. And so that was part of our objection. Given that he is no longer attempting to put into evidence the document that he himself constructed, the state's objection is to the flyers. I assume that's what he last sent us at about 10 something last night. Flyers of Mr. Williams, his clients, I guess, promotional flyers. For a couple of reasons we object. One is that the flyers themselves are self-serving hearsay of the defendant, Jeffrey Williams. If he attempts to introduce one of the exhibits for some purpose that it appears is a permissible purpose through Walter Murphy, the state will not object. But if he tenders the exhibit that he has shown to Ms. Hilton and me on Friday and then sent to the court and counsel for the state last night, whole hog, just here, look at all of these, get all of these flyers in for my client, Mr. Williams, promoting something or another, then the state would object. Without seeing or hearing what basis he has for offering them. And we, I did ask, I didn't see a response. There may have been one and I may have just missed it. And I have not spoken to Mr. Steele about this, but without knowing first in what manner he attempts to get them introduced or for what purpose or what foundation he intends to lay, I can't make a further objection until the time comes that he actually tenders the evidence.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll withhold on that until such time as those Mr. Murphy is shown or Mr. Steele lays a foundation as to those particular documents. Okay, what about the issue with the cell phone records and the expert or purported person that's going to come in? Has that already been dealt with? Have we already had a Daubert hearing in regards to that particular individual?
We are still awaiting Daubert hearings on a few people, Your Honor. Experts that the state, I believe, has indicated it will call in, experts that Defendant Williams will call, but that person will not come. We do not anticipate using that person this week, perhaps not even at all. There are documents, there are records that are in evidence that we may be putting in through a different witness altogether, but out of an abundance of caution, we put those documents in the PowerPoint and share them. But I'm very much open to a conversation where we can talk about what it is that we intend to actually use at this point, and as opposed to if something is opened up on cross-examination.
Lucent Hill. All that estate didn't get ripped for not preemptively filing a motion in limine a year ago. Yeah, isn't that weird? If this was the other way around, we know how the judge acts if it's the other way around.
But given the length of time that I believe will be in court this week, I don't think that we'll even reach those parts of our exhibits.
Okay, all right. So are we going to need to schedule a Daubert hearing for the cell phone expert?
Judge, because we have a few Daubert hearings left, I don't think that it would be unwise to at some point schedule a Daubert hearing for the remaining experts.
Daubert hearing is when the expert gets on the witness stand and gets questioned by both the state and the defense about their qualifications. I covered a bunch of these Daubert hearings May and June of last year. And oh my God, the incompetence of the experts this prosecution wants in. I will give you the same example I always give. They wanted in a certain someone as a forensic video analyst. After being questioned by the state and the cross-examination from the defense, we learned that this forensic video analyst, all he did was, and have done for the past 20 years, he gets video from police with the timestamp. We want you to stop here and do this. So what he does, he plays the video, he stops, he takes a screenshot, takes that screenshot, puts it into Photoshop, and enhance the pinch and zoom guy. That's all he has done for the past 20 years. For now, luckily, the judge said, we no, after objections from the defense, you're not a forensic video analyst. We can accept you as a video enhancing expert. Here's the thing with experts. Experts are there because they have knowledge few other people have. They are there to explain certain things in layman terms because they have expertise in it. My 5-year-old niece can do what he does. That's not the only. If you have a slow day, Saturday, Sunday, go back and watch my Dorbert hearing coverage from May and June of last year. And you will find out why I'm not surprised at all the level of incompetence in this prosecution. Because their chief medical examiner, the first person in the Dorbert hearing, is an elected one. She does not follow standard operational procedure. She has no standard operational procedure at all. She doesn't even follow national guidelines. It's so yeah. Let's get back to this.
I believe that.
How many experts are we talking about?
I believe that one of Mr. Steele's rap lyrics experts.
Yeah,
We are still awaiting that. I know one of our potential experts has a outstanding Daubert hearing. I believe it's Investigator Gaither. I'd have to look over our list to see the remaining experts, and I can provide that to the court and counsel.
All right, so by the end of today,
Yes.
I'd like to go ahead and.
How can they not have had the Daubert hearings on the state's experts yet? These Daubert hearings, except in very specific circumstances, must be held pre-trial. But here we are.
Schedule those at some point in time, or if you decide that no hearings are necessary, you will otherwise stipulate that. That's fine. But if I need to go ahead and have a hearing on those, let's go ahead and take care of it. Mr. Steele, or anybody else, do we have any other experts that we need to take up, Daubert wise?
I have to think about it, not that I'm.
Okay.
And Your Honor, and I don't want to repeat, I know the court gathers this, but the gentleman or woman, I apologize, who the state may want to call about these phone records from Cobb County is either Phil, which is Phil Jones, typical spelling, or D as in David, or I'm not sure. Delta, thank you. Walker, Walker. To my knowledge, I've never heard of these people on a witness list until April 3rd. I've never been noticed.
All right, let's find out. When were they disclosed on the state's witness list?
Your Honor, one of the people that is listed is actually deceased. The report was served in discovery, and I would have to review the filings that we've made to see when the names were served. but we can provide that to the court this afternoon along with the dates or names that are outstanding for Daubert hearings. Again, that is not someone that will come up this week at all. So
This pre-trial and trial has taken so long that one of their experts have passed away. Sorry to the family of this person, but in the trial settings, how come we only find out about this now? Is this expert a replacement expert? Then that should have been disclosed months ago. Months ago.
it's not a matter that has to be.
All right, well, was somebody else was this particular person that's deceased, now deceased, replaced by another expert who reviewed these records, or is that what the state's intention is, or what?
No, Your Honor, it was that we were listing the names of persons that are connected to the records, and we learned that one of them was deceased. But again, the records and the exhibits were served in, I believe, the first round of discovery, and we will again scour our first and longest witness list to ensure that we did not leave off anyone.
There's a really big difference in providing reports and providing expert witnesses. You can have the report and not call the expert witness. So just providing the reports does not mean you have elicited, we are also calling this person as a witness. You have to do both. This is the report, this is the expert, we are calling that expert. You have to do that. But prosecution don't give a damn.
Unintentionally.
All right, Mr. Steele, check the first round of discovery and,
No.
okay?
I'll do that. And also, I've never been noticed of a CV to my knowledge at all, or that this person would be an expert. So
What's his name?
I don't know who's, God forbid, deceased, but I have a Phil Jones and a D Walker, one or the other, or I guess God forbid, one now.
Mr. Jones is the person that we received information is deceased. Both of those persons reviewed the records that were served in discovery. And again, if either name was inadvertently left off, that was inadvertent, but we will ensure.
We need to have-
and review
okay.
And find it out.
Do we have a CV for is it Mr. Jones?
Mr. Jones is deceased,
Mr. Jones is deceased, and who's the other expert?
and the other one is D Walker. And we will make sure that all of that information has been provided as well.
Okay.
We will make sure. No, we will. That means they are trying to stall it for some odd reason, and the judge just accepts it. This is
All right,
infuriating.
anything else? Mr. Murphy here?
He was 10 minutes out about 15 minutes ago, so he should be here. He's here.
He's here? Okay, all right. Can we have him take a stand, please? All right, summon our jurors, please. Come on.
All right. Skip a bit, skip a bit.
Rested. Hope you enjoyed some of the sun this morning.
Mr. Murphy, good morning.
Come on.
Can everyone hear me?
Why do you have a mask? Now, he is masked in my thumbnail, but I assumed we would find out why he is masked. Does he have a cold? He didn't have a cold on Friday.
Good morning.
Harvey? Mr. Murphy, before I start asking you any questions, I'm going to ask Mr. Kokomo to approach the state as well as Mr. Murphy to show what's been marked Defense Exhibit DS8 and DS8A.
As Lucent Hill says, It feels like the window of new witnesses really should be closed, otherwise it is a trial by ambush. I agree. I completely agree. Here's the problem. The judge doesn't have a spine. He's a coward. He refuses to put time limits. Even when he puts time limits, everything should be done by this date. The prosecution don't give a damn because the judge has no spine. It's Monday and I really wish it was Friday so I can sit here with a beer instead.
DS8 and DS8.
Yes.
Okay, and did you recognize what DS8 was?
I recognize both of them. I don't know
Okay,
the numbers though.
what were they? Were they maps?
Yes.
Okay, and what were they maps showing?
Jonesboro Road.
Okay, did they have the sit-go on Jonesboro Road within the map?
Yes.
Okay, were they fair and accurate representations of overhead views of the sit-go at the corner of Jonesboro and Browns Mill Road?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, at this time, I would ask to admit defense exhibits DS8 and DS8A.
Any objection to DS8 or DS8A?
Not for today's purposes, Your Honor, but we would like a printout of DSP.
Yeah, you're supposed to print some of you now.
I apologize, and we will get that.
Yes, I'll admit, DS8 and DS8 alpha, and then if you publish as you see fit.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Kokomo, would you put DS8A on the screen for us, please? Where's the? Now, I just want to clear up one thing that may have been confusing from Friday. On Friday, you testified on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as how high you were an 11.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
You were speaking of the night of April 12th of 2015, correct?
I just remember being high that whole week.
Okay. Would that be an accurate answer for that night as well?
Yes.
Okay. I think where we left off, you had testified that you had ran towards the car with the other gentleman in it, correct?
Yes.
And then you backed off.
Yes.
And you backed off because you were scared?
I backed off because I didn't know what was next. I didn't know what they was doing in the car.
What were you concerned about them doing in the car?
Anything. Preparing to hit me with the car, jump out, or shoot back, or whatever.
Did you know whether they had guns or not in the car?
No, I didn't.
Okay. After you backed off of that car, you said that car drove away, correct?
Yes.
On Jonesboro Road, towards the cemetery.
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach the screen? Okay, Mr. Murphy, will you kindly just turn around? Is this the parking lot area of the sit-go?
Yes.
Okay. When we say that, when we say that the other car with the individuals that you didn't know pulled away on Jonesboro Road, headed south, they went this way, correct?
Yeah, down the road.
Okay. And a short time thereafter, you got back in the car that you were in with Nard, correct?
Yes.
The white Nitro,
The white Jeep.
the white Jeep, and you went down this road on Browns Mill Road, correct?
Yes.
Nard was driving.
Yes.
Okay, so you did not.
Mr. Shaw, yes, young man, to speak up a little bit while he's steps back.
Yes.
The car that you and Nard were in did not follow the car that went down Jonesboro Road, correct?
No.
No one, you did not shoot at that car headed down Jonesboro Road as it left, did you?
No.
As that car left the Citgo parking lot, Nard did not shoot at that car, did he?
No, they just left.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Kokomo to publish what's been marked DS9.
All right, sir.
And Mr. Kokomo, if you could start at 13 minutes.
Excuse me, Your Honor, I don't, oh, DS9.
Mr. Kokomo, is there any way you can make that bigger? So, oh, I'm sorry, I got you. You go back to how you do it, Mr. Kokomo, I'm sorry. All right, 13
Listen
minutes.
to Mr. Kokomo.
When I pulled up to-
Okay, and Mr. Murphy, you have previously recognized this as video from the Citgo on 4/12/2015, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, in that top left square is outside by the pumps, correct?
Yes.
Top right square that's showing right now is the parking lots right in front of the door of the Citgo, correct? The
Yes.
front door. Okay. Ms. Kokomo, if you could play it.
One of the things that seems to be central here is that although Mr. Murphy was involved in crimes and stuff like that, it seems like these really bad stuff was a reaction, not an actual action. That is the what I believe the defense is going for, to show the jury this was a reaction, maybe not allowed in self-defense, as a self-defense, but as a reaction to the actual violence portrayed by others. That would be my speculation here.
Okay, Ms. Kokomo, could you pause? Now, in the bottom left, that is the inside
That you will hear a lot here. Mr. Kokomo, can you pause?
of that.
Oh. Nana Misty. Oh, you are so generous. Thank you so much. Gifting membership. 5 of them. To Paddy B, Divance Moore, came at Red Queen, Patrick Hedbom, Haley Wolf. Congratulations. Now you have access to all my members only stuff. And I just posted, I did a members only stream this Friday where you get more information about me, so to speak, and what I do. So after this stream, go look at the new members only stuff that is out there. Thank you so much, Nana Misty. Thank you so much.
Citgo, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Kokomo, thank you. Okay, Mr. Kokomo, if you could pause. Mr. Murphy, did you just see on the top left, 2 cars enter the parking lot?
Yes.
Okay. Kokomo.
Just for information, this is the video the prosecution didn't want the jury to see. They never played it in their interview. Oh, they didn't in their questioning of Mr. Murphy. They never played any of this. Why? Because they have a narrative. And it seems like their narrative might have nuance. Let's just say that. They only showed stills. They didn't play the
Okay,
actual
pause, Mr.
video.
Kokomo.
Pause number 3,
Now,
Mr. Kokomo.
Mr. Murphy, you would agree that the lighter color car was entered the parking lot first, correct?
Yes,
And the darker color car followed right behind the lighter color car.
yes,
Okay. Do you recognize the individual who went over to the driver's side of the darker color car?
no,
Okay. Ms. Kokomo? But you do see someone that went over to the darker color car?
yes.
Okay. Ms. Kokomo? Pause, please.
4.
Okay. The gentleman with the red shirt that just walked off screen, the one that went over to the darker color car, do you recognize that person is hot?
I can't really tell.
You can't tell now? Okay. How about the person in the back, the heavy-set gentleman in the back? Do you recognize that person?
I can't see no. I can't
Not yet?
see like over there.
Okay. Mr. Kokomo, would you let it play? Okay. Ms. Kokomo? Those two gentlemen that just
Hi.
entered the top right square, do you recognize them now?
Yeah, I think that Bentley.
The gentleman in the white shirt is OG Bentley?
Yeah.
And the person in the right, do you recognize that person is hot?
I don't know who. I can't really see if they got that hat on.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Ms. Kokomo, if you would play. And you just saw those three individuals enter the store, correct?
Yes,
Okay. The third individual that I haven't asked you about, do you recognize that person?
no,
Okay. Now, based on your knowledge of this incident, in that car, left in that car are a woman and children, correct?
yes,
The lighter color car
yes,
that Bentley and the other gentleman exited.
yes,
Okay. And the darker color car is still there, correct?
yes,
At this point, have you seen anyone from the darker color car get out to pump any gas?
no,
Have you seen anyone from the darker color car walk to the store to purchase an item?
no.
Okay. Mr. Kokomo, if you would play. All right, pause, Mr. Kokomo. Did you see the darker color car now pull in front of the lighter color car containing the woman and children?
Yes,
Okay. Mr. Kokomo?
Whoever is in that dark car, that is a very aggressive move. Waiting for the guys to enter the gas station and then do that U-turn. That is a very aggressive move. Hypothetically, say that when I get to the United States in August, I am in Houston. I pull up to get some gas, and a car does that in front of me. Let's just say this might be my reaction if anyone did that in front of me.
To rob him.
Yeah. So if anybody did that turn in front of me and I have a muzzle, yeah, you're going to get sprayed. Because that is an active threat. That is an active threat. In my opinion. I wish I had have to ask Andrew Branca about this specific. And then they drove a bit further down and stopped again. Nobody's pumping gas from that dark car.
Ms. Kokomo, could you pause?
Pause number 7.
Mr. Murphy, did you just see the third gentleman that you can't recognize exit the store, look over to the cars, and then re-enter the store?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, Nana missed this. Sorry for the delay. No worries, Nana. No worries at all. I'm studying for my licensed hearing aid specialist test. That's amazing. Good luck on that. I hope you nail that test, because there's a huge need for hearing aid specialists. I mean, people get older, lose hearing. You lose hearing for other reasons. You are needed. I hope you nail that test. And thank you so much again for gifting memberships. Now, everybody can probably by now understand why the prosecution didn't want to show the actual video. Patty B, are they trying to prove Thug was involved in this? Was this a robbery? No, Mr. Williams has nothing to do with this. This is Mr. Murphy, who they allege, or he took a plea deal saying he was involved in a criminal organization and yada, yada, yada. And the prosecution proved it by showing stills and questioning him about alleged crimes. Well, he did confess, sort of, through plea deals. But now, as I see the actual situation, I'm seeing an active threat against Mr. Murphy and the rest of the people in that car. Because remember, in that car are still a woman and 2 children. I perceive this as an active threat. So no, Mr. Williams, Young Thug, had nothing to do with this. This is just the prosecution proving that Mr. Murphy was involved in crimes and that he took plea deals. And therefore, the rest of the YSL are equally guilty. That's the Georgia RICO Act. If one person commits a crime, then...
Okay, Mr. Kokomo, pause for a second. Did you see someone exit the lighter colored car that Bentley was in?
Yes.
Okay, do you recognize that person?
No.
Do you know if that was a male or a female?
Female.
Okay. And did she get out to pump gas?
Yes. Oh, you look like it.
Okay, Mr. Kokomo. Mr. Kokomo, pause, please.
Pause number 9.
In the lower left, do you see an individual looking out the window towards the outside, from the inside of the store?
Looking out the door? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Kokomo, pause, please. Mr. Murphy,
Pause,
on the
yeah.
lower right, did you just see the individual, the third individual that was in the car that you can't identify, point someone else to go over to the car?
Objection, Your Honor, speculation.
I state an objection.
Okay, did you see the third individual interact with a person that was not originally in the car with them?
Yes.
Okay, and is that individual on the top left screen now?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Kokomo, could you play? Okay. Ms. Kokomo, can you pause? Did that person that was not originally with
Pause
them
11.
just go over to the car and take over the pumping of gas?
Yes. That's what it looked like.
And has one of the individuals that was inside the dark car exited the car and is talking to the female?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Kokomo, yep. Pause. Did you just see Mr. Bentley looking out the window again towards the cars?
Yes.
Pause. Did the third individual that you cannot identify go back to the light colored car?
Yes.
Have Bentley and the gentleman with the red shirt exited the store at this point?
No.
That was a no?
No.
If you haven't hit the thumbs up yet, now is a good time. It's right down there.
All right, Mr. Kokomo, pause. At 2143, is that the white Jeep that you and Nard and Fatty were in?
Yes.
Okay. At this point, when you arrived, I'm talking about you personally, did you have any insight about what was going on?
I didn't know what was going on.
All you knew was that Nard had given you an assault rifle, correct?
Yeah.
And he said, let's ride.
Yes.
And you were very hot.
Yes.
Okay. Pause. Do you recognize yourself in that video?
Yes.
Okay, who are you?
Machine.
I'm at the top left. By the whatever kind of car it is.
Are you in the back,
Yeah.
driver's side, standing behind the car where Mr. Kokomo has put the pointer,
Yes.
wearing a black hoodie?
Yes. I think it's a jacket. Well, yeah.
At this time, even though we can't see it, are you armed with an assault rifle?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, that's an assault rifle.
Pause.
Well,
Ms. Kokomo, okay. And did you just point the assault rifle at the black car
Yes.
or the dark car?
Yes.
Do you remember if you said anything?
I don't remember.
Did you shoot?
No.
Okay. And then you retreated?
Yes.
Okay. Now, on the top right, standing by the door. Who is that?
They're not.
That's Nard, and is he standing by the front door? Do you see on the bottom left, him in the doorway?
Yes.
And that's the store that Bentley and the gentleman with the red shirt. Do you know who the gentleman with the red shirt? Have you seen enough of the video?
I can't see his face.
Oh, okay.
Because
They're in that
they
store
entered
still?
the
Yes.
situation.
Okay. And just to be clear, Nard is also armed with an assault rifle, correct?
Yes.
And is that you running up on the car again?
Yes.
Okay. And you just saw the car speed off. Pause, please. And is that the car going down Jonesboro Road?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Kokomo. And the car that you arrived in is still in the parking lot, and the car that Bentley was in is still in the parking lot, correct?
Yes.
And Bentley has now exited the store and is actually re-entering, correct?
Yes.
And now the gentleman with the red shirt is exiting the store, correct?
Yes.
Speeding up a bit to 1.5.
And at this point, going back to April 12, 2015, you were aware that the car went down Jonesboro Road, correct?
Yeah, I know the area.
Okay, so whether you did or not, you could have told everyone, hey, that car went down Jonesboro Road, correct?
That's just speculation.
I stand there.
Okay. Mr. Kokomo?
This is again infuriating because the prosecution asked him to speculate in their direct examination, and the judge allowed it. But now, when he actually testifies that he knows the area and can see, now it's a speculation all of a sudden. I lost count on how many pauses.
Okay, and the car with Bentley in pulls out, and it heads down Browns Mill Road, correct?
Yeah,
That's what we're seeing right now.
make a slight right, yeah.
Yep. Okay. And the white truck that you're in, we're seeing it head down Browns Mill Road, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Kokomo, if you could put on DS8 on the screen, please. Okay. And you're familiar with this area, correct?
Yes.
All right. So, Ms. Murphy, if you could look at the screen. Okay. Yeah. This is the sit go, correct?
Yes. Not there.
And the car with the other gentleman went down Browns Mill Road, correct?
Yes.
And you all went down Jonesboro Road towards the cemetery,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And you all went down Browns Mill Road, correct?
Yes.
And these two roads, if everyone remains straight, are not going to intersect. Isn't that correct?
No.
And Browns Mill Road is the way that you would get back to the house that you were at earlier.
Yes.
Your understanding is you were going back to the house, correct?
I just remember we were leaving from right there. We were trying to get away from right there.
Could you repeat that one more time?
I just remember we were trying to get away from right there.
Okay.
I didn't know where we was going till we got there.
Okay. So, and if you could keep that up, Ms. Kokomo, I'd appreciate it. At some point, a shooting occurred, correct?
Yes.
It wasn't that much longer after you left the gas station, was it?
No.
Okay. You were headed down Browns Mill Road in the passenger seat of the white truck.
Yes.
Nard was driving.
Yes.
Fatty was in the back.
Yes.
Nard had a assault rifle at his feet.
Yes.
You had an assault rifle in the passenger seat.
Yes.
Fatty, do you know if he had a gun?
I can't remember.
You can't remember? You're not saying he didn't? You're not saying he didn't?
I'm not saying.
Bentley, Hot, another gentleman, a female and two children were in the car behind. You all headed down Browns Mill Road, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know if any of them had guns?
I can't recall. I don't remember.
Okay. Did you see them with guns that day?
No, not that I remember.
And at that time, your understanding was the other car was headed down Jonesboro Road?
Yes.
Okay, at some point, the other car and the white truck that you were in ended up meeting, correct?
Yeah, they made it right. I had to make it right somewhere.
Now, you testified you don't remember the name of the street. Mr. Murphy, if you could. Is this the right that you feel they took?
So what's going on here for you who just joined is Mr. Murphy being cross-examined and providing more detail to the shooting that happened in April of 2015. As in the dark car we saw at the gas station went in one direction. They went in the other direction, but they still met up, which means that the darker car must have turned to intercept them. And that shows, again, as I said earlier, their demeanor at the gas station shows an active threat. Hi, Queebeezy. What's up? A map is up.
Yeah, yes, because they left before us, so they went. It's hard to explain, but they left before us. So if they would have even made the first right, we still would have never. You see what I'm saying? Because they left minutes before us. So if they make the first right, we still won't catch up to them.
Did the cars,
So I feel they made the second right.
did the cars meet at this intersection?
I don't remember what intersection. I know we was on Brownsmere and they was at a stop sign. So yeah,
When the cars met, whatever intersection, was your car still facing forward going down Brownsmere?
yes,
With the driver's side of the car facing this way?
yes,
Okay, and was the car with the other gentleman in driving this way, if you look at this way, towards your car?
yes. They was coming towards Brownsmere.
So the cars were perpendicular?
Yeah, is that what it means?
Okay, I got you. Okay. Did you personally see the car, the dark color car, approaching you all at that intersection?
No.
Okay. Did someone in the white Nitro see that car?
Yes.
Who saw the car coming?
Objection, I see miscalculation of the evidence of who saw the car coming.
I stand objection to form.
Without saying what anyone said, did anyone indicate to you that the car was coming?
Objection, Your Honor, again, as to the car coming. That's not the testimony.
objection. He rephrased so.
Okay. You said the car was driving towards y'all, right? Okay, I understand. The dark colored car was driving towards the white Nitro, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And who was the first person that noticed the car driving towards y'all?
I can't remember, but it was either Fatty or not. It was one.
Okay.
I wasn't on that side of the car to even see it coming. So.
Right. The driver's side of the car was closest to the car that was oncoming.
Yes. So the driver or the back passenger to the driver would have been able to see it.
And what happened? What happened when the car was seen coming towards you?
We blocked it off. I think I remember we blocked it off.
Okay. Was at the time that you blocked it off, was the car with Hot and Bentley and the children and the woman, was it behind you or in front of you?
Behind us.
It was behind you. And then that car, what did it do? The car with Bentley and the children, what did it do?
It went around us and kept straight.
Kept straight down Browns Mill?
Yes.
As you blocked the car off?
Yes.
Okay. And then once Bentley and the car with Bentley and the children got past, did the car that was coming towards you, did they stop? If
Yeah.
you recall.
Yeah. The car they stopped.
Okay. And then what happened?
It happened. The shooting happened.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to ask you about specifics of the shooting. Okay, so who shot?
No.
Okay, Nard was seated in the driver's seat.
Yes.
Okay, explain to the jury how he was driving and he shot.
He stopped the car.
Okay, did he shoot through the window?
No, he let the window down.
He let the window down?
It might have already been down. I can't remember. But it was. We definitely didn't shoot through the glass.
And where did he get the gun from?
He already had it.
Okay, well, where was it in the car?
I can't. It might have been in his lap in the floor. He had it.
Okay, did anyone hand it to him?
No,
And when he shot, do you remember how many shots he fired?
I can't remember. A couple, more than one.
More than one? Was it less than 10?
Yes.
Do you know how many shots a gun like that holds?
It depends on the magazine.
Okay. Do you remember telling investigators that you thought it was 3 or 4 back in 2016?
I might have said that.
Okay. And Nard shot. Do you know if Fatty shot?
I don't recall.
Now, did you shoot?
How could I shoot? I'm on the opposite. I would have got out of the car. I didn't get out of the car.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm asking. Did you shoot?
No.
And after Nard shot, what happened?
He left.
Did you personally, I'm asking what you knew. Did you know if anyone was shot or not?
No.
Okay. Do you remember where you went?
We went back to the house we left from.
And you got there by traveling down Browns Mill Road, correct?
Yes.
Okay. On that video we watched, you said, I already asked you about the house. On the video that we watched, and to your recollection, you said you know Shannon Stillwell. Was Shannon Stillwell at that gas station, that Citgo that night?
No.
You said you know Jeffrey Williams. Was Jeffrey Williams at that gas station that night?
No.
These other gentlemen in this courtroom, take all the time you want. Look at their faces. Were any of them at the gas station that night?
No.
Okay. On the ride to the gas station, phone calls being made. Were there any communications involving Shannon Stillwell that night?
No.
Were there any communications involving Jeffrey Williams that night?
No.
Do you know of any communications involving any of these other gentlemen that night?
No.
When you got back to the house, was Shannon Stillwell at that house?
No.
How about Jeffrey Williams? Was he at the house?
No.
Any of these other gentlemen, look at their faces. Were any of them at the house that night?
No.
Okay, I'm going to shift topics a little bit about paying, quote unquote, paying dues. Okay, putting money on books. You remember being asked about that?
Yes.
Okay, you've been to Rice Street before, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let's just talk a little bit about Rice Street. In Rice Street, when we say Rice Street, we're talking about the Fulton County Jail, correct?
Yes.
The address of the Fulton County Jail is 901 Rice Street, correct?
I think that's it. Yeah. It's,
People in Atlanta call the jail Rice Street.
Yes.
Okay, that's common parlance. You would agree?
Yes.
Okay. When you are an inmate at Rice Street, when you are being held, can you explain the difference between jail and prison as far as, is jail when you're waiting charges prior to when your case is pending? Is that correct?
I think so. I guess that's if they still holding you or you ain't plead guilty or got no time.
Right. And then once your case has been resolved, if you're sentenced to prison, you go to prison, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about jail first, and specifically Rice Street. Do you have a room? When you're an inmate at Rice Street, do you have a room?
I have a cell.
A cell. Okay. And how big is that cell?
I don't know. It's small.
It's small. Okay. And what is in that cell?
A toilet and a sink.
A toilet, a sink, and what else?
2 metal beds. 2 bunk, whatever you want to call it, bunk beds, metal beds.
Metal beds, and they're set up bunk style?
Yes.
Okay. And the toilet and sink are made of metal?
Yes.
Okay. And you said 2 beds. How many people live in a cell?
It depends on what floor. At Rice Street, it depends on what floor you on.
Okay. Is it possible that more than one person lives in a cell?
Yes.
Okay. Have you been in Rice Street with a cellmate?
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, in Rice Street, some people don't even get a cell, do they? They sleep on boats, correct?
Yes.
And what are boats?
Boat is a boat. A boat is like a canoe with a mat in it, and you sleep in the day area, like under the stairs or by the window.
It's a mat that's laid on the floor, correct?
Yes.
And people sleep on these mats on the floor
Yes.
in a common area.
Yeah, the day room.
Yeah, if you don't know about Fulton County Jail, or Rice Street as they call them, there is about somewhere between 15 and 40 murders in that jail per year. It's overcrowded. People have died in that jail from lice. Yeah, they found a dead person in there in 2021, I believe, who were more or less eaten alive by lice. That's the standard in jail in Fulton County.
Typically, when you're an inmate at Rice Street, how often are you allowed out of your cell?
Probably about 4. It depends on the officer, but it's about 4 to 6 hours a day.
Do you get to leave your cell anytime you want?
No.
Let's talk about the facilities. I noticed you didn't mention a shower. Where are the showers?
In Rice Street, the shower by it's out in the day room area.
In the day room area? Okay.
It's like by the end room on the end.
And do I get to, when I want to take a shower, do I get to go into a room and close the door and undress and take a shower?
No.
How does that work? Where's
It's
the shower?
just a hole in the wall with a curtain on.
Okay. And is it for, how many people are taking a shower at what time?
1.
Okay. So there's only one shower?
No, it's 2. It's 1 for the top. People sleep down on the top and 1 on the bottom.
And how often are you allowed to shower?
And whenever them hours you out your room.
Okay. Do you consider the facilities, the shower facilities, clean?
No.
Does the water get clogged?
Cloud.
The drains get clogged?
Yes.
Is there standing water when you shower?
Standing water.
Standing water, is there water on the ground that
Yeah,
fills up?
like a puddle. Yeah.
That's happened before?
Yes.
Okay. How about the bathroom facilities? Toilets get clogged?
Yes.
Is that a regular occurrence?
Yes.
Let's talk about the food at Rice Street. Is, in your opinion,
This is how the defense is planting the notion in the heads of the jurors. It's no wonder people take plea deals when they spend. Some spent a year and a half in that jail before they took a plea deal, and the 6 people remaining are the ones who did not take a plea deal, who have been in that very jail for over a year and a half. It's no wonder why some take plea deals, isn't it? I mean, why wouldn't you take a plea deal to get out of that, or at least get probation if they promise you probation, like they did to Mr. Murphy here? 10 years probation, you get home to get home to your family. No wonder, right? And that is why you have the plea deals and the snitches in this very case, because they know what could happen to them in that jail. Mr. Stillwell, one of the defendants, was stabbed in jail just before Christmas. And as Nana Misty says, how can we treat people like that? I think our society is more guilty until proven innocent. Yeah, that is the state of at least Fulton County. If you're the suspect of a crime, in the police, prosecutor, and judge's mind, you are not worth basic rights, just as a suspect. I wonder how many innocent people have died in that jail, because the judges and the prosecutors don't believe in basic rights. Well, if they believe in God and the afterlife and stuff like that, they might be in for a rude awakening when Judgment Day comes. Let's just say that. As in, why did you allow all these innocent people to die in jail? Abba. Downstairs with you. No Kursan asks, can you get around the speculation by asking it in a way so it becomes reasonable man test? I think in this trial, it's more about they already know they will be objected. It's just to get the question out there.
what do you think about the food at Rice Street?
That ain't no food. That's not food.
Okay, is that an opinion that's shared by most people?
Objection, speculation.
That's the objection.
Okay. Now, when you say ain't no food, you are brought trays, correct?
Oh, yes.
You're saying you prefer not to eat the trays.
I mean, I would rather not, but if I ain't got nothing else to eat, no commissary and then I eat it. But
Okay, if you have no commissary, you're gonna eat the trays.
yes,
Okay, to stay alive.
exactly.
Okay. How about at Rice Street, hygiene products? Do they provide you with hygiene products at Rice Street?
You mean like give it to you or you?
Yes.
No, they don't give it to you.
They don't give it to you.
No.
So, the soap that you want to use, they don't give that to you.
No,
Shaving supplies, they don't give it to you.
no,
Deodorant,
no, you have to buy all that.
okay, at the commissary.
Yes.
All right. How about phone calls? Now, you don't get, at Rice Street, you don't get in-person visits from your, you said you have children, correct?
Yes, for.
The mother of your children, you don't get in-person visits, do you?
No,
Okay, what about your mother? You don't get in-person visits from your mother, correct?
No.
How about friends?
no,
Okay, so do they have phones at Rice Street?
yes,
And you're allowed to call loved ones from Rice Street using these phones, correct?
yes,
These phones, are they free to make phone calls?
no. They give you free calls when you first come like intake. But other than that, then no.
When you first get into intake, they give you free call. Okay. After you get out of intake, are the calls free?
No.
Okay, so how can you make calls to people from Rice Street, people that you love?
They have to put money on their phone.
Is that through commissary, money on your books?
Oh yeah, you can put. I forgot I got that. No, you can put money from your books on there. But other than that, when I used to be in there, they had the person on the outside had to put money on their phone for you to call.
Either way, whether it goes through the books first or directly to the phone, it costs money for people on the outside, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, all these questions I asked you about Rice Street, is it fair to say that your answers would be similar for prison as well? You don't get free calls from prison.
Yeah, some of them will be the same, but most of them no.
Is Rice Street worse than prison?
Yes.
Okay.
It depends on the condition you're talking about though.
And it depends on the prison.
Prison's dangerous, but Rice Street is like far as like hygiene and all that you talk about the shower is worse. Like the living condition is worse.
Okay, so let's talk about we brought up money on books. Can you those terms? I want you to explain to the jury. Is money putting money on your books, putting money on someone's books? Is that putting money on their commissary? Is that the same thing?
Yes.
And essentially, that is putting money on an inmate's account, correct?
Yes.
That they can use to buy certain things.
Yes.
Okay. Personal hygiene products. Money on the books would allow an inmate to purchase soap.
Yes.
Correct? Would allow an inmate to purchase deodorant, correct?
Yes.
Would allow an inmate to purchase shaving supplies, correct?
Yes.
Would allow a person to purchase cleaning supplies, correct?
I don't know what I mean, if you want to buy the soap,
Okay.
the whole
So,
method you could do to buy it off the store and then turn it into a cleaning product.
so you could buy soap and turn it into a cleaning supply, but in your experience, cleaning supplies are not in the jail commissary.
No.
Okay, thank you for that correction. How about food? Can you buy chips,
Yeah, it's just snacks. It ain't like no meal.
honey buns?
Yes.
Also, what is it? Do you know what a trustee tray is?
Yeah, that's the food that they get. It come from like staff dining and stuff like that.
Can you buy that using commissary?
No.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, if the trustee want to sell his food, then swap it out for commissary. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's something that you could barter with a trustee to get.
Yeah.
And when you say it's food that comes from staff dining, that is a higher quality of food in your opinion.
Yeah.
Give me an example of what the higher quality of food would be. How about little plastic shower shoes that protect your feet from the standing water in the showers? Can you buy those at the jail store?
I think so. Yeah.
And how about phone calls? The ability to stay in contact with your loved ones. Can you order phone calls using money on your books?
Yeah, that's a new thing. I just learned that when I went to jail for this.
How about stamps that you can send your loved ones letters? Can you get that at the commissary?
Yes.
How about greeting cards, birthday cards, things like that for
Yes.
your loved ones, for your children, for your
Yes.
mother, Mother's Day cards? Can you get those at the commissary?
Yes.
Okay. Do they sell fancy steaks at the commissary? Do
No,
they sell caviar at the commissary?
I don't even know what that is.
Okay.
I heard of it though.
The truth is, Mr. Murphy, you've been to Rice Street before.
A lot of times.
Okay. You said a lot of times. People have put money on your books before, correct?
Yes.
Your family has put money on your books before, correct?
Yes.
The mothers of your children have put money on your books before, correct?
Yes.
Your friends have put money on your books before, correct?
They probably gave some money to go on. They ain't go like put it on there themselves, but they probably like
Right.
if they see my mom, they'll give some money. Something like that.
Give your mom money and then she puts on the books. Okay. Your lawyer, Jacoby Hudson, he's put money on your books before, correct? He
Yes.
cares, and he cares about you.
Yeah, he's a friend of the family.
You view that as a good thing, a great thing. Your lawyer cares so much about you that he puts money on your books.
Yeah, it's a nice gesture.
And you're not unique in the fact that you've had money on your books, are you? Other people in the jail, most people have money on their books, correct?
Yeah, there's plenty of weeks I went without money too. Though. So,
Right? Sometimes you have been without money,
Yes.
but all sorts of other people have money on their books as well, correct?
Yes.
You have had friends locked up in your life, haven't you? When you've been out,
Yes.
okay? And there's been times where you have put money on people's books, correct?
I've given money to go on their book. I never went to Rice Street to put no money on nobody's book though.
So you've given money to people's mothers so they could put that money on your friend's book.
Yes.
You've given money to the mother of people's children or their wives so they could put money on books.
Yes.
Okay. Why do you do that?
It's just I know how I feel to be in there. You feel I can't even describe the way you feel, but when the people do stuff like that, you know they there for you because that's like a dark place to be in, dark space to be in.
You would want people to do that for you, correct?
Of course.
And you therefore do it for other people, correct?
Yes.
Has anyone ever forced you to put money?
Oh, that that's a nice passage there. Do unto others as you want to be done to you. That's a nice rephrasing of that.
on people's books?
No,
Has anyone ever told you you need to put money on this person's books?
no,
Has there ever been any rules that you've had to follow to put money on people's books?
no,
Okay, you've identified some people through your testimony as being YSL. Okay, that was your testimony. Have you put money on the books of people that have, in your mind, been associated with YSL?
no.
Have you put, and I'm talking about either directly or indirectly?
You mean like somebody in here? Like,
No, just in general.
oh yeah,
Okay, and have you also put money on people's books who you do not consider YSL at all?
yes,
Okay. Let's talk about my client, Mr. Stillwell, for a second. Do you know, and if you know, what year you met Mr. Stillwell?
I think it was 2015.
Okay, 2015?
Yes,
Okay, and you testified that in your mind, he's associated with YSL.
yes, yes,
Okay. And if I recall your testimony correctly, you made that determination because he started hanging out at the studio.
yes,
Okay, the studio, when you say the studio, you're talking about the recording studio, correct?
yes.
Okay, and could you just explain what the recording studio is? Is there a specific recording studio or just, are you using that term generally?
It's not just one. We just go to the studio.
Are there dozens of recording studios in Atlanta?
Yes,
Okay, and is the recording studio where hip hop music is recorded?
yes.
And-
All kind of music, not just hip hop.
All kinds of music is
Yes.
recorded. And when Mr. Stillwell started showing up at the studio, he was trying to record music, correct?
Yes,
Mr. Stillwell was never beaten into any gang.
not to my knowledge. No,
Objection, speculation.
To your knowledge, was Mr. Stillwell ever required to commit any crimes to hang around you all?
Objection, speculation.
Have you ever known anyone to have been beaten into YSL, to your knowledge?
no,
Okay, you said something last week. When I did those interviews, I would have cut off my arm to get back to my son. You said you have 4 children,
yes.
3 girls and a boy?
No, two girls, 2 boys.
2 girls and 2 boys. At the time, you had one son, correct?
Yeah, at the time I had 2 girls, but I had got arrested and my fiance was pregnant with my son.
Gotcha. Okay. And when you gave those statements, you were staying in Rice Street, correct?
Yes,
Under the conditions that we discussed earlier, correct?
yes,
Okay. And there's another thing about staying in Rice Street. Your case is still pending, correct? And your case was still pending when you gave those statements, correct?
yes,
Back in 2015 and 2016, when you were giving those statements, and I'm going to hand you, if I may approach your honor, 18 CC, state 18 CC. All right. This is the indictment and your plea. And actually, if I may approach him.
Yeah, well done, lawyer.
Okay, Mr. Murphy.
As I said a bit earlier, once you're in Rice Street under those conditions, why wouldn't you take a plea deal? Why wouldn't you? Here's the thing about prison snitches. And I've said this in prior trials, prior streams. Prison snitches has everything to gain by lying. Everything. Because if they are not believed, they serve their sentence. If they are believed, they get a lighter sentence. So prison snitches has everything to gain by lying, especially with cops like Mr. Velasquez and Mr. Quinn, who, in my opinion, does everything to get a conviction, including forging evidence. And when I say forging evidence, we already know that Mr. Velasquez, because it said so on the stand in this trial, under oath, that he deleted statements he thought were lies, and he kept the statements he believed were true. That is rephrasing of, give me the information I want, and I will do stuff. The rest I will delete, so the defense will never find out. That is a bad cop. and Mr. Velasquez and Mr. Quinn has a true crime show together. I will not say what it is. I will never watch it, because why would I want to watch a true crime show hosted by crooked cops?
That's the indictment, and the specific counts are listed right here, okay?
Okay.
At the time, you were facing violation of Georgia Criminal Street Gang Act charge, correct?
Yes.
Okay, you were facing 4 counts of criminal attempt to commit murder,
Yes.
Facing aggravated battery,
Yes.
facing 4 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon,
Yes.
Facing 4 counts of possession of firearm by a convicted felon.
Yes.
You were facing 255 years. Does that sound right? Up to 255 years.
A long time. I don't remember the exact time, but it was a long time.
And this is for the April 12th, 2015 incident.
Yeah, that was just one of my cases I had at that time.
Okay. In your mind, who controlled how much time you would actually serve?
I check his speculation.
I'm asking in his mind.
Yeah, this is the defense trying to get in that the person who actually controls how much time, that would be the prosecutor and the judge. The prosecutor, by dismissing a bunch of the charges and then recommend to the judge a sentence, which is a huge incentive for any criminal to lie.
Okay. You ended up pleading guilty.
Yes.
Okay. Now, can you look at count 1 of that indictment that you pled guilty to? That approach doesn't.
sir.
Count 1 that you pled guilty to in April 12, 2015. That's the violation of the Criminal Street Gang Act, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Could you, Ms. Murphy, I'll read it, and could you follow along and let me know if I read it correctly, okay?
Okay.
No, I think that the counsel testified, Mr. Sharp.
Okay, Ms. Murphy, if you could read count 1 for me.
In the name and the behalf of the citizens of Georgia, do charge and accuse Walter Murphy with the offense of participating in criminal street gang activity. OCGA 1615-4 for the said accused in the county of Fulton County and state of Georgia on the 12th day of April 2015 did unlawfully while associating with a criminal street gang participate in criminal gang activity through commission of an offense. I don't know that word. In paragraph 1 of Code Section 1615-3 to wit criminal attempt to commit murder, contrary to the law of said state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof.
Okay, in count 1, violation of criminal street gang from April 12th, 2015, does that allegation ever mention YSL? Does it say YSL anywhere in that allegation?
No.
Does that allegation ever say that the crime committed on April 12, 2015 was done in furtherance of YSL?
No.
Okay. May I approach Your Honor with states 1CC?
One Charlie.
One Charlie Charlie. Mr. Murphy, do you identify one Charlie Charlie as the plea agreement that you struck regarding this case?
Yes.
Okay, and you initialed several factual acknowledgements in this case, correct, as part of your deal?
Yes.
You had to initial them for the deal to go through, correct?
Yes.
And you wanted the deal to go through because if the deal went through, you were going home, correct?
I'm going back home. I had just came home from doing 7.5 years.
Right. You were upset because you had been arrested for this RICO charge for the same incident that you had already done 7 years for.
Yes, I thought it was double jeopardy.
And you wanted to go back home.
Yes.
Okay, and so you initialed these factual acknowledgements. I want to talk to you about number 14. If you could turn to page 4.
And here's the absolute cluster F, that is the Georgia RICO and the RICO in general, the federal statute. but especially in the Georgia RICO. It allows double jeopardy if you put it as an underlying act under the RICO charge. You can be convicted of the same crime twice. Now you tell me your honest opinions about being convicted of the same crime twice. For me, no. Just no. But the Georgia RICO have survived in Georgia, and the general federal RICO Act have survived on a federal level. Because prosecutors and judges are lazy, in my opinion. They do not want to put in the work to actually get solid evidence in front of a jury. They are perfectly happy with allegations under as an underlying act, and then say, this is a bad guy. He was a bad guy here 5-10 years ago. We need you to convict him again. Because RICO allows it.
Okay, acknowledgement number 14. You did initial that acknowledgement, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Could you read it? Acknowledgement 14.
In the year of 2016, I was convicted in Fulton County Indictment number 15 SC 138234 of participation in criminal street activity, aggravated battery, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, 4 counts, and possession of a firearm during commission of a felony. The victim in the case was Dexter Montgomery. I committed these acts during the time period that I was a YSL gang member.
Okay, it says I committed these acts during the period that I was a YSL gang member, correct?
Yes, that's what it says.
Anywhere in that acknowledgement, number 14, does it say that you committed these acts in furtherance of YSL?
And number 14?
Yes.
So, can you ask that again?
Does anywhere in number 14 say that you committed these acts in furtherance of YSL?
No.
Does it say that you committed these acts in furtherance of Jeffrey Williams?
No.
Does it say that you committed these acts in furtherance of Shannon Stillwell?
No.
Does it say that you committed these acts in furtherance of any of these other gentlemen sitting here?
No.
Mr. Murphy,
Good points, Mr. Shaw.
you've testified that you're now sober, correct?
Yes.
You have a job.
Yes.
You're trying to be a father.
Yes.
Your life is in a better place than it was back then, correct?
Than it ever been.
Okay. When you look back on April 12th, 2015, you committed a crime, correct?
Yes.
Regardless of what was going on in that other dark car, what you did was wrong, correct?
Yes.
It was heinous.
I don't know that.
It was awful.
Yes.
It was violent.
Yes.
What NAR did was awful and violent.
Yes.
It was selfish, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was selfish for you to even put yourself in a position that Mr. Montgomery could be hurt and for his head to get hit by a bullet. That was selfish.
Yes.
It was selfish against your children, to put yourself in a position that you would be taken away from their lives.
Yes.
That was selfish of you, wasn't it?
It was.
You're not saying that you didn't do anything wrong in 2015, are you?
No.
Okay. But the reality is, Mr. Murphy, this was an isolated incident committed by men who were high, out of their minds, correct?
Yes.
Committed by men with assault rifles, correct?
Yes.
Committed by men who got a call at a gas station, correct?
Yes.
That crime did not involve anyone back here, did it?
No.
That crime did not further any interest of YSL, did it?
No.
And none of these gentlemen had anything to do with it, isn't that correct? I have no further questions. Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
Good points. Great close of Mr. Shaw's cross-examination. And that is the points they have to do over and over again in this trial, because this is what the prosecution are going for. Shit evidence of old crimes people already paid their dues for, or cases that were dismissed, cases that Mr. Williams was never arrested for, and stuff like that. It's been this from day one. But it is the Georgia RICO Act, and technically, it is enough for him, Mr. Murphy, to have committed crimes, and the allegation that it is in furtherance of the YSL, and that he did it for the YSL. That's enough for convicting every other person associated with Mr. Williams' record label.
Yeah, how about a comfort break?
Yeah, and then they have a comfort break, and usually it should be 10 minutes. Let's see. 204, 154, that's 10 minutes. That's 15 minutes. That's 20 minutes. Unusually short 10-minute break.
All right, starting, do we have all our participants, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, summon of yours, please.
Skipping ahead so we can get to Mr. Steele's cross-examination.
Thank you, Sergeant Ingram. All right, next counsel that wishes to examine Mr. Murphy.
I'll go, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Weinstein.
Oh, Mr. Weinstein. Nice. Okay, let me change. I don't know the spelling of his name. Sorry.
Good morning, Mr. Murphy.
Come on.
My name is Doug Weinstein. I'm Diamante Kendrick's attorney.
Okay.
You identified, I believe you know him as Yak, is that correct?
Yes.
And you know Yak's government name is Diamante Kendrick?
Yes.
Okay. And you identified him in the courtroom last week as a member of YSL?
Yes.
You know that, should I call him Yak or Mr. Kendrick for you?
Anyone?
Okay, I'll call him Mr. Kendrick then, okay? But we're referring to the man you know as Yak. So you know Mr. Kendrick is a rapper, correct?
Yes.
And you know Mr. Kendrick is on the YSL label, correct?
Yes.
And you know Mr. Kendrick because you toured with him, is that right?
Yes.
And you traveled with him, I assume. You went to different places on the tour. And that's how you know Mr. Kendrick, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Yeah, identified as YSL, but he was a rapper under that label. Dun, dun, dun. That's all he needed to say. And bum, bum, bum.
All right, Mr. Matthews.
Mr. Murphy, good.
And now Mr. Matthews with something similar. I assume. Let's see.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Mr. Murphy, I represent Mr. Marquavius Huey here at the table. I just have a few questions for you. Last week, you recall speaking outside the hall with Mr. Max Sharp, the gentleman who had been asking you questions for several minutes this morning?
Yes.
And when you spoke with him outside, you spoken also with Mr. Kokomo, the gentleman back there with the glasses on, the dark-skinned brother?
Yes.
Okay. And they showed you several videos and things of that nature from many years prior, correct?
Mr.
Kokomo?
Yeah, but the other I don't know his name.
This gentleman here with the
Yeah,
mask
he
on?
wasn't. When I seen him, I think you talking about two different incidents.
Okay.
When he showed me the video, I didn't see
Mr. Kokomo?
when Mr. Kokomo showed me the video, I didn't see the other
You
gentleman.
didn't see Mr. Sharp?
No.
Okay. But the point I'm making is, though, they went over the videos with you.
Mr. Kokomo showed me the video, he didn't go over it with me. I tried to ask him something, he was like, he can't do that.
Right. So he showed you the videos and oriented you and made you more familiar with the incidents from several years ago, correct?
Yes.
The state of Georgia, they didn't do that with you, correct? They didn't go over the videos with you.
No.
The first time that you had actually seen those videos and refamiliarized yourself with those videos and the incidents from several years ago was with Mr. Kokomo, correct?
Yes.
And that would explain why you were able to answer Mr. Sharp's questions more clearly, correct?
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah, this goes to the shadiness of the prosecution, who it seems, it was pre-planned from the prosecution to not allow him to get familiarized with the video that way. All he could answer was, I don't remember, and in that, and as such, they could just read from transcripts, which it's extremely shady. Now, does the jury pick up on it? Don't know. Do I pick up on it? Of course I do, because I have a law degree, I have training. And now I'm passing this on to you. So next time you watch a trial, if it's not here, if it's somewhere else, if it's non-commentary, remember these little pointers I give you. How the prosecution does these shady things to get certain answers in order to get more evidence in that otherwise might not have been allowed.
Any other examination? All right.
And here comes Mr. Steele. Before he starts, a reminder. I do recap of the afternoon, the day before, the previous day. I do, like now, up until lunch. Now, this week, we know that only today is a full day. The rest of the week are half days. So I will do recap plus live today, Wednesday, and Friday. Because half days, I mean, it's not worth it. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week. So you all are get familiar with that.
Thank you, sir. I heard you state that your life is more at peace or better now than it ever has been. Is that what I heard?
Yes.
I'd like to talk with you about your life, if that's okay, like the prosecutor was asking you. Okay, let me ask you questions.
Yes, sir.
Now, there was a time that you were very close friends with Jeffrey Williams. Is that true?
Yes.
And that happened since childhood, right?
Yes.
And you met him approximately when you were about 12 years of age. You remember that? Became real good friends with him.
It's been a long time, but as far as I can remember, I knew him.
You knew about him before that.
Yes.
All right. And you were born actually 7 days ahead of Jeffrey Williams in the same month, same year. Is that true?
Yes.
Both born in August of 1991, right?
Yes.
And growing up as a child with Jeffrey, you know that he was raised in Jonesboro South projects. Is that true?
Yes.
And you were raised in the nearby projects, right?
Yes.
And you would spend time at Jeffrey's home at times growing up, right?
Yes.
Jonesboro South.
Yes.
And he'd be at your house too at times, right?
Yes.
And in Jeffrey's home, there would be lots of music. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And we're not just talking, you made this known, it's not just rap music, it's all types of music, right?
Yes.
Jeff-
All genres.
And Jeffrey loved music, true?
Yes.
You love music, right?
I do.
And on Sundays, if you remember being at Jeffrey's home, his mother would play gospel. Is that true?
I don't think it was just Sunday, but she played gospel.
Okay. And she also would read the Bible. Is that true?
Yes.
And when
The prosecution is objecting to the relevance of what music was played when they were young. Now, why does she do that? Because she desperately wants to portray all the defendants as genuinely bad guys. Now, this person was a bad guy. Now he seems to have cleaned up. Mr. Williams might have done some questionable things, but so far, as far as I know, from testimony, even from the prosecution, he doesn't seem like much of a bad guy.
you were so close with Jeffrey, you also became close with his family. Is that true? Certain people in his family.
I think I was close with his family first, and then me and him.
And you called his mother Mama or Mama Duck. Is that true?
Yes.
And in your family, your mom has 5 children. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And each one of those children have a different father. Is that
Yes.
true? And none of those 5 fathers were part of anybody's life. Is that true?
That's not true.
Okay. How about your father? Was he ever part of your life?
No, I don't know my father.
And your mother was disabled. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
She couldn't walk.
She still can't walk.
And she was never employed, never working. Is that true?
No.
When did she work?
No, I'm saying she never worked.
I misunderstood you. And you're the second of the 5 children, and you're the oldest man.
Yes.
True. And there were times when you were real young that it was looked upon that you had to pay family expenses. Is that true?
Yes.
You paid your mother's car note
Yes.
and food for the family,
Yes.
clothing for the family,
Yes.
all the necessary items to try to keep lights on or
cetera. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
And you did that at a really young age, 12, 13, 14. Is that true?
Yes.
And unfortunately, sometimes the money didn't meet the expenses. And I heard you say earlier on direct examination, your family was, you used the term, I believe, put out. Remember saying that?
Yes.
To the jury? And put out means that the belongings were put on the street because you couldn't live in the house. Not just you, the family couldn't live in the house. Is that what you mean by put out?
Yes. When they sit your stuff on the side,
Say that again.
when they sit your stuff outside in the front of the neighborhood.
And that's a rough way to grow up. Would you consider that true?
I definitely don't want that for my kids.
And by the age of like 10, 11, 12, you started to use marijuana. Is that right?
Yes.
And then it escalated, if that's a true word, but you did other drugs too. True?
Yes.
It got to the point where drugs gave you a sense of belonging, like an escape. Is that true?
Yes. Escape, yeah.
Now, Jeffrey was born in similar poverty. Is that true?
Similar, yeah.
And there were times that you would sleep at Jeffrey's home on the floor with him, right?
Yes.
And he would do the same at your house, right?
Yes.
And because of economics, that means financial money, you and Jeffrey would exchange clothing
Yes, we have before.
because it would just give you a different type of clothing to wear the next day. Is that true?
Different look.
And even though the clothing may be dirty, it was at least different clothing than you wore the day before, right?
Yes.
And it got to the point that you and Jeffrey got so close that if you were both hungry, but you had $1 or $2 or $3, you would actually buy food and split all that food with him. Is that true?
Yes.
And he did that for you too.
At times, yeah.
And the people in the area, some of the people were in the same type of financial problem as you and Jeffrey's family. Is that true? People
Yeah,
didn't
there was
have
other families, yeah.
Now, from being with Jeffrey, you learned that he idolized Lil Wayne. Is that true?
Objection on the self-serving.
I state objection.
Did you idolize Lil Wayne? You know who
Still
Lil Wayne?
do. I still do.
Okay. And to your knowledge, was Jeffrey holding the same opinion?
Objection, same
Same objection.
How about Tupac? You know who Tupac is?
Yes.
Same answer?
Yes.
Same question.
Now, did you observe Jeffrey study the music of Lil Wayne?
We both did.
Okay. And did you observe Jeffrey and you study the music of Tupac?
Yes.
And you said on direct examination last week that you called Jeffrey Little Jeff. Is that true?
Yes.
And do you know there came a time that Jeffrey wanted to be called Young Thug?
Yes.
He named himself, true?
Yes.
And that was for his ability to try to get into the rap industry. Is that true?
Speculation.
Same objection.
Did Jeffrey choose the name Young Thug for his musical career?
Objection, speculation.
I'm saying this is form and asking.
Do you know whether Young Thug was a musical creative name?
Objection,
Jeffrey.
speculation.
If you know.
I'm over objection. You can answer, sir, if you can.
Okay, ask it again. I'm confused.
Do you know whether the formation of the name Young Thug was for his musical?
That was his right name.
And do you know what Thug stands for?
It got a couple meanings, but yeah.
Okay, tell the jurors.
Tell them all of them that I know.
Sure.
The hate you give, truly humble unto God. It's a couple of them.
Now, you may.
Truly humble unto God. Okay. Don't know if that is actually correct or not, but they keep hammering it in. And sooner or later, it will stick. Repetitiveness, because they get it from different people all the time, weeks or months apart.
Mentioned that you have tattoos on your face. The prosecutor was asking you about those. Remember all that question?
Yes.
You also mentioned that tattoos got on the face because you were trying to mimic, copy. You were trying to be like a rapper. Do you remember that? Remember saying that to jurors?
Yes.
And did Lil Wayne, before you ever had tattoos on your face, did he have tattoos on his face?
He's the first one rapper I seen with tattoo.
Okay. And did you copy Lil Wayne?
Yes.
And Jeffrey has tattoos on his face, right?
Yes.
Same reason for rap? You guys were trying to get in the rap industry?
Yes.
Now, when you heard Jeffrey perform music, you've heard him perform music, right?
Yes.
Even when he was young, 12 years of age, did he try to sound like, and did he sound like Lil Wayne?
Back then, yeah, he did.
And did you know that Lil Wayne appeared to give out an impression that he's with the Bloods gang? Were you aware of that?
He was one of them, yes.
And I'm not limiting it just to Lil Wayne, other people in the rap industry, true?
Yes.
Now, did Jeffrey work hard at music and performing music and becoming a rapper and getting a name for himself?
He worked harder than me.
Did you ever see anyone work as hard as Jeffrey Williams?
No.
Is it true that by the time Jeffrey was when he met you around that time, in your neighborhood, if you know, his reputation was that he's a good rapper? Is that true?
Can you ask it again?
Yeah. Did he have a reputation in your neighborhood as being known to be a good rapper?
You said when I met him?
Yeah, when he's a young man. Yes, even when he's young.
First, everybody knew him from throwing the football. Though. He was a good quarterback.
Okay.
And then he started rapping, and everybody loved his rap, so he kept doing it.
Okay, say the end again. I apologize.
I said he started rapping, and everybody loved it. So,
And his talent. To you, did he have talent?
yeah.
It was obvious?
Yeah, he was nice.
Okay. Do you remember there come a time that Jeffrey was marketing himself as a rapper, Young Thug?
What do you mean, like marketing?
Through his iPhone, promoting himself.
Yes,
And did you help him promote himself?
for years.
And did you actually spend tremendous amount of times talking with people about the rapper Young Thug?
Yes,
Come out to the shows, Young Thug?
yes, I did it all. There was no limit.
Put on your own personal social media, Young Thug?
Yes,
Come view him,
yes,
come talk about him,
yes,
put him on your other people's social media?
yes,
You were attempting to improve the notoriety, meaning the visibility of the Young Thug rapper, true?
yes. I know he was better than me, so.
One more time?
I knew he was better than me at rapping, so I wasn't trying to hold him back. I'm gonna try to get him to be bigger than maybe I could be bigger.
Okay. And other people did that too in your neighborhood, true?
Yes,
The whole neighborhood actually got behind him, right?
yes,
And when I say got behind him, you'd come out to shows
yes,
he was performing? And would it be fair to say there were hundreds of people come out to shows even when very in the beginning? Is that true?
yes,
And people would play his music in the streets of your neighborhood
yes,
and ask the DJs to play his songs, all true?
yes,
You've done that.
I've seen the questions.
You've done that, right? You've asked DJs to play his songs, right?
yes, and radio station.
At radio stations.
Yes,
Do you know whether it was marketing, meaning it was for popularity, that Jeffrey would get onto social media and get into arguments with other rappers? Do you ever see that happen?
Speculation.
I stand the objection.
Did you ever get involved with Jeffrey getting in arguments with other rappers so he would improve his notoriety?
Objection, speculation.
I stand the objection.
Did you witness that Jeffrey getting in arguments with other rappers on social media?
yes,
Okay. And is that part of getting out his name and his brand?
Objection, speculation.
Do you remember Jeffrey's eventually did mixtapes? You know what a mixtape is?
yes,
Or an album?
yes,
And eventually, do you remember coming out with a series of mixtapes or albums? I Came From Nothing. Remember that?
yeah. That was his first project, I think.
Okay. And you helped promote that, right?
Yes,
And would you go with Jeffrey to concerts that he put on, performances
yes,
all the time, right?
yes,
And would you work those concerts and try to sell what they call merch or merchandise at times?
yes,
And would you promote those concerts, meaning tell people, get out the word on your social media or otherwise, put up posters, whatever it is,
Yeah.
to come to these shows?
yes.
And it benefited Jeffrey a great deal, your efforts, true?
That's that again?
You assisted him in his career.
In my opinion, yeah.
And speaking about using social media to get the word out, if you have a Twitter account, I would not mind if you shared my streams on if you think it's worth it. And give the thumbs up and share if you can and want. And want. My English is getting worse today. Sorry for but do hit that thumbs up. It really means a lot to me.
And do you remember, and you were showing it earlier when you remember some of your social media posts that you went over on direct examination with the prosecutor?
I don't know if they
And they showed you blood and SMN.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay. And some of those actually dealt with things like going to Chattanooga, Tennessee in July 2012 to stop the violence. You remember doing that with Jeffrey?
I don't recall doing it, but we went to a whole lot of like down south states and cities and stuff like that.
You want to ask you about, remember Trayvon Martin? It was dedicated to Trayvon Martin. You remember that gentleman?
I know Trayvon Martin.
You remember going to that show in Chattanooga? And if you don't remember, it's fine.
I think I can't recall. It was like going to that show, but we went to a lot of shows.
As you started going around with Jeffrey to different shows throughout Atlanta and, like you said, beyond, you remember Jeffrey telling you to stop doing the stupid stuff? I'm not cursing the last word, but do you remember that?
Objection, hearsay, self-service.
I stand the objection.
Do you remember it being told to you, or did you get the impression that you have to stop committing crime?
I stand informed of the question you phrase.
To be around Jeffrey, you had to stop committing crime. Do you remember him telling you that?
Objection, hearsay.
I stand the question.
Did you get the understanding that in order to keep being around Jeffrey, you had to stop committing crime?
Yes.
Now, besides, I'm excluding drugs. I'm excluding lean and marijuana. I'm excluding gambling. Excluding means I'm not asking about that, okay?
Okay.
Did Jeffrey ever instruct you, order you, ask you to commit a crime to enhance any criminal street gang?
Objection here, sir.
I'll allow that one.
I'm confused. What I don't know what to do.
The Honorable Court's allowing you to answer the question.
Can you answer it again?
Yeah. Besides, doing drugs and gambling, I'm not talking about that. Okay?
Okay.
Did Jeffrey ever instruct you, order you, ask you to commit any crime to enhance any criminal street gang?
Objection be a legal conclusion.
That's not legal conclusion.
I'm going to overrule the objection.
It's the same damn
You
question.
can answer it?
Yeah.
He was mad at me. He didn't want me doing. He didn't even want me on Cleveland Avenue. He didn't want me doing nothing. They gonna get me taken away from my kids or him or nobody. He didn't want me doing none of that.
Did Jeffrey ever ask you or instruct you to commit a crime?
No.
Did Jeffrey ever was with you? I said that wrong. I want to ask you a couple of questions. I'm going to change it. The way I said it was the wrong tense. I want to go back to September 11th of 2013. I'm not asking you to remember the date, but that is your arrest when the car slams into the side wall. Adrian Bean, Fred Prethrow, you're taken to the hospital. Remember that?
Yes.
All right. Now you told the ladies and gentlemen jury you were shot twice.
Oh, he was in the car. Yeah, he was in the car 2013. Okay.
During that event. True?
I was, yes.
And one time is in the upper left thigh. True?
In my main artery.
And because of that, you stayed in the hospital.
Yes, Mr. Murphy is the one who managed to get shot in the heel and the thigh by cops. Because no shell casings inside that car. That's the aim of the men in blue and women.
An extended period of time. You had surgery, right?
I had 2 surgeries.
And the other bullet went into your right heel. Is that true?
Yes.
And was Jeffrey Williams in that car with you at the time of this event?
No.
Was he involved in that event?
No.
I want to show you what has been marked.
Remember the amount of time they took with Slug in order to try to get Mr. Williams inside that car. This man, Mr. Bean, sorry, the amount of time that prosecution took with Mr. Bean to get him to, and yeah, and here is the one who got shot, who says, and he has a plea deal that says he's not allowed. If the prosecution believes he's lying, they can revoke his plea deal. He knows this. That is why this testimony and these questions are so important now. They laid all the foundations up to this point. Was Mr. Williams in that car? And he says no. And we already know Mr. Bean is a liar. Lying liar who lies. Now, at the time, so was Mr. Murphy. Now he is getting his act back together. He has his plea deal. He knows what's going to happen if he lies on the stand. And he still says, Mr. Williams was not in that car.
Your guilty plea and indictment. Do you have it on the line? Does anybody have that? Do you remember? Got my approach.
You may.
Skipping ahead.
They said 17, I believe.
Skipping ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. May I approach, sir?
Skipping ahead, skipping ahead, skipping ahead.
Is it Georgia versus you, Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Okay, and this is a certified copy, meaning this is the last page. And there's a seal, okay?
Okay.
I'm showing you the 4th page of this exhibit, which is the indictment. Ms. Knight, do you have it? I'm sorry?
It's okay, Ms. Knight. Thank you, though. So on here, do you see where it says indictment on this section?
Yes.
And it's State of Georgia versus Mr. Bean, Mr. Murphy, Mr. Proffer. Is that true?
Yes.
Jeffrey Williams not on there?
No.
And then this is returned in October 1, 2013, meaning that's when the grand jury filed this in open court. Is that what the date says?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to show you what has been marked and admitted as 19 CC. You see that?
Yes.
And this was shown to you by the prosecutor as your guilty plea to this case that the jurors are trying. You see that?
Yes.
Okay. And that's indictment number 22 SC 183572. True?
Yes.
And you're familiar with this indictment, fair to say?
Yes.
And I'm turning pages to the actual indictment. And this is also certified, or should be certified on the front electronically. Right? Certification?
Yes.
All right. And you've seen this before. This is the indictment in our case. It's very lengthy. True?
Yes.
And your name is on here, right?
It's somewhere.
It's in alphabetical order.
Oh,
Is
yes.
your name at the top?
Yes.
Jeffrey's name is in here at the bottom.
Yes.
And then Adrian Bean is not in this indictment. Is that true?
No.
Nor is Fred Proffer. True? He's not in here either, is he?
No.
And then I'd like to show you the count 1, overt act, 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah, just so you know, if you have been with me for the last couple of months, the prosecution has gone through so much effort in trying to have Mr. Williams in that car. Here's the thing, folks. In those specific overt acts regarding the 2013 incident with the car going into the laundromat and the 2015 attempted the shooting, Mr. Williams, young thug, is not mentioned in those underlying or overt acts. Isn't that strange? The prosecution spent months trying to put him in that car, and he's not even mentioned in the court documents for those specific crimes. Isn't that strange? It's almost as if they know and still try to pin it on him. That is shady AF.
See the acts here?
Yes.
And count 1. Is that true?
Yes.
And then I'm turning on to page 15. You see where it says September 11, 2013?
Yes.
That's the date of the Adrian Bean incident, true? With the car colliding into the wall?
Yes.
And it charges you, Walter Murphy, with attempted armed robbery, right?
Yes.
And then in overt act 6 of count 1, same date, September 11, 2013, charges you, Walter Murphy, with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, true?
Yes.
Count 1, overt act 7, September 11, 2013, again charges you, Walter Murphy, possession of firearm by first offender.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And 5, 6, and 7, they all deal with the Derek Dotson. And if I'm going too fast, just say I'm going too fast. That's the incident involving Adrian Bean, right?
Yes.
Is Jeffrey Williams charged in overt act 5, 6, or 7?
It just say my name.
And this was returned not in October 1 of 2013. This indictment was returned on August 5 of 2022, right?
Yes.
I'm going to leave that with you just for a moment, if I can. I'm returning, Your Honor, 17 CC.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Mr. Williams is not mentioned.
Now, I
in
want to go
acts.
to a person who the jurors know as Archillian Bennett, okay? You said you didn't know that name, but you know her as Jay.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
And just to orient the jurors, you said that she actually did babysitting for your daughter.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
And that you weren't really friendly with her, but you knew her and you appreciated her babysitting, but your fiance, wife, child's mother was friends with her. True?
Yes.
Okay. And you made it clear you never shot a bullet into her wall of her apartment. Is that true?
I never did it.
And is it true that you were never present ever when somebody put a gun to her face while she's holding her baby? Is that
No.
true? And you never took her watch, or not watch, let me think about this. $4,000 in US currency, another $100 in US currency, her firearm, her cell phone, maybe some jewelry, and a child's book bag or a child's bag. That never happened, did it?
No.
Now, to your knowledge, Jeffrey Williams never did anything like that, right?
No.
Now, was there a time or times that you would go over to her home? And I understand she also lived with Micah Anderson. Do you know that person? Or you know her boyfriend?
Yeah.
Ola Plea?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know Miss Micah Anderson?
No.
Okay. There were times you go over to her home and do drugs there. True.
Yes.
And she was, as well as Mr. Anderson, they were selling drugs. True.
He was selling drugs. I don't know if she was selling
That's
drugs.
fine. And do you remember ever going over to her home with a gentleman known as Buck?
Yes,
Now, Buck's different than Book, right? We're talking about two different people. Am I right?
yes.
And you told the prosecutor that Buck, these are my words, is a thief. He steals a lot. Remember
He
saying
have,
that?
he have before.
He used to.
Yes,
Okay. And he was a drug addict, fair to say?
we all were.
Yeah. And was there a time that you, I'm not saying other people weren't there, but that you, Jeffrey Williams, and Buck, and Archillian Bennett or Che, and Ola Playa or Micah Anderson and others were doing drugs at Miss Bennett's home, and Buck stole drugs from that home? Did that happen?
He stole drugs from a lot of places, so probably, yeah.
Objection, Your Honor, to speculation.
Do you remember Jeffrey Williams and you calling Miss Bennett or Che and apologizing for Buck stealing drugs and that Jeffrey repaid the drugs that were stolen?
Yes, that happened before.
Now,
So that goes against the prosecution trying to. Now, we don't know why Miss Bennett said the things she said in that report, but we do know that this guy, Mr. Murphy, his freedom is at stake here on the stand. He has to be truthful. And now he says somebody stole drugs from her house. Him and Jeffrey called, apologized.
you talked about the studio, and you went a lot. I'm talking about years ago. I'm talking about a decade ago, 2014, 2013, 2012, 2011. I'm going way back, okay?
Okay.
You spent a lot of time in studios, recording studios, didn't you?
Yes.
And Jeffrey Williams spent even more time in studios, true?
Yes.
In fact, Jeffrey didn't go home. He would sleep in studios. Is that true?
Yes.
And he would be in the studios every day performing music after music, lyric after lyric, song after song, true?
Yes.
And you witnessed some of this, right? You were there.
A lot of it, yeah.
And when Jeffrey was in those studios performing music, eventually he would perform out in the public, right?
Yes.
I want to show you what I'm marking. As Mr. Williams, exhibit number 220A, as in Lisa Alpha, through 220XX. When they're individual, and I'd like to, with the court's permission, approach, and you just go through each one individually and tell me if you recognize these items, okay?
Okay.
So there's a lot of them, so we'll just go one at a time, okay?
Okay.
Your Honor, may I approach? I'm bringing a clip. When you're done, you can clip it, okay?
Okay. Yes.
These are probably the flyers they talked about
one at a
this
time.
morning.
Go through together, and you're going to make 2 piles. If you recognize something, we'll go in pile 1. If you don't recognize something, we'll put it aside, okay?
Do that now? I just got
Yeah. Let's look at, if you don't mind, look at, you see where it says in the upper left, JWEXH, that stands for exhibit, Jeffrey Williams exhibit, okay?
Okay.
And then you see where it's a pound sign or a number sign?
Yes.
Then it says 220A. Do you recognize that poster,
Go to the photo.
the photo?
You asked me to answer it or just?
Yeah, just yes or no. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
Okay.
Your Honor, you asked for more. How was he going to what did we need more foundation.
I would agree with that at this point. So I'll sustain as the foundation. Just ask him some more questions.
Okay.
What's he looking at to begin with right now?
These are, you want me to say it out loud? They posters?
What's he looking at in terms of the exhibit? I knew you had
Oh, 220A. I apologize.
220A?
220A is an
That's
elect.
what you need to reference when so the record's clear.
Sure.
Okay, all right, so he's looking at 22A right now.
Okay. And it's 22A, I think you said it's a photograph. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recognize that photograph from seeing it in the past on social media or in other places?
Yes.
And does that photograph accurately depict means accurately show what you remember it showed?
Yes.
And is that photograph the way it looked when you've seen it previously?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I move for the admission of 220A, Mr. Williams exhibit.
Any objection?
Hearsay. Hearsay.
It's a photograph. There's no hearsay.
I sustain the objection because it's got writing inside of it.
Oh, for freak's sake, Your Honor.
No, this is the poster.
Let me see it.
This is the poster.
Let me see it.
Well, let me ask you a question because I think I may have missed.
Can I see it first, please?
Sure. Okay.
Oh, you asked me.
Let me have that 22A, please, sir. Thank you.
May I ask a follow-up question?
Hold on 1 second, Mr. Sheehan.
Sure.
Here you go, Mr. Murphy. Go ahead, sir.
Do you see and at the very bottom left as well as the very bottom right, there's some writings?
Yes.
Is this how you saw the photograph with that writing on it previously?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I move for the admission of 220A, Mr. Williams exhibit.
Still need a little more foundation.
Is this
Oh,
do you recognize this
hey,
from
Your
social
Honor.
media as being a promotion of an event that Ms. Williams performed at?
I just remember seeing it. I don't remember what it was for. But I remember seeing this photo.
Okay, and did it have the writing at the bottom?
Yes.
And look at that writing, is that the way it looked when you saw it previously?
Yes.
Okay, Your Honor, I move for Mr. Williams 220A.
Any further objection, madam?
Does Mr. Murphy, what social media account he got it from? When he saw it?
I'll let you lay a little more
Your Honor,
foundation.
under Henderson, HENDERSON versus State, it's 317 Georgia, 66. It's in Division 8. 317 Georgia, 66. It's in Division 8,
Stop talking.
2023. Okay.
Oh, Mr. Steele has actual court cases showing that that's all the foundation he actually needs, so that what the prosecution here asked is that they want him, Mr. Murphy, to remember the year or date of this photo. And what Mrs. Steele is doing now is, no, I don't. No, I don't. Because here is a court case. Now, will it be enough for this judge? We've seen this judge throw out things that are so admissible, it's stupid. Skipping ahead, let's see. And it's good that it is a 2023 case, because then it's really recent. Cellulite podcast. Is he fake crying? I think he's just tired. Yep.
Can I get counsel come on for a second, please? Mr. Murphy?
Oh, we are getting us. Oh, are they? Are they? It is. It is one. It is one. Sidebar counter 133. 133 sidebars. This is supposed to be day 60, court day 60. That's not correct, because they have had, 60 court days. Yeah, not trial days, court days. They have had roughly 11 or 12 hearing days. Okay, now we are down to 49 days of actual trial. Then you have half days. You had a dozen of those. Remove 6 days, which puts it down to 40 something. So we are technically just around day 40. And we are 4.5 months into this trial. Out of possible, there should be around 90 trial days in 4.5 months. They have done less than half of those in actual trial. Yeah. Let's skip ahead so we can get to where... there you are. Teddy O'Hearn. Good thing I don't have.
Yes.
Good thing you don't have to spin the wheel for each sidebar. Oh no. This is not a fundraiser. This is not a Finally Friday. This is straight up. If you want to see the wheel of regrets and me to spin it, $50 in super chats or gifted memberships. That's it. For you who have never seen the wheel of regrets before, it looks like this. And if we reach $50, in super chats or gifted memberships, I will spin that wheel. And as you see, there's hot sauces, there's booze, there's wasabi, there's garlic, and stuff like that. But we're not there yet. Let's get back to the trial. And here, Mr. Steele.
Do a few questions, sir, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. The judge still didn't admit the photos or the posters. Of course he didn't. Why should he? He's a judge who works for the prosecution, in my opinion.
I can't hear the court.
I said,
Once the redaction's finished. All right, well, because of that, Your Honor, I don't want to waste time. There'll be a redaction, so I'm going to move on. Mr. Murphy, I'm going to answer no serious questions. We're going to come back to that, okay?
Okay.
All right. Since about 2000,
This is in front of the jury. So they know there's something there. Through technicality, they're not shown. Are they supposed to disregard it? Yes. Will they? You tell me.
10, you would have been 19 years of age. Is that true?
I think so.
Okay, that's fine.
I think.
All right, let's go back a year before that, 2000. I'll just use this. Since about 16, 17, is it fair to say that Jeffrey, you know Jeffrey, to be performing live in front of audiences? Is that true?
I thought we was younger than that, but yeah.
That's fine. And that continued throughout, and it get more momentum, meaning Jeffrey would perform more and more and more as you guys got older. True?
Yes.
And there came a time that you knew, and you've gone to performances throughout Georgia.
Yes.
I'm not just talking about Atlanta. I mean, throughout the state of Georgia, right?
Yes.
Throughout Alabama,
Yes.
Florida,
Yes.
South Carolina,
Yes.
Tennessee,
Yes.
North Carolina,
Yes.
Michigan,
The whole down south.
and Michigan would be up north in the Midwest. You remember? I'm not saying you went, but you remember Jeffrey performing there? Detroit, Michigan.
I don't know. I know we went.
If you don't know, that's fine. New York.
Yeah, I've been to New York.
And he performed all over eventually the United States. You're aware of that, right?
Yes.
And outside the United States, right?
Yes.
All right. Now, you told the jury that, when the prosecutor asked you, how did this argument, we called it a beef between IF and YSL? Remember those type of questions? How did it begin?
Yes.
You remember the prosecutor saying to you that you said that it started with something between Jeffrey and Rich Homie Quan. Remember that?
Yes.
And Rich Homie Quan is another well-known musical artist, rapper. True?
Yes.
And were you aware, do you remember, that in late December of 2014, Jeffrey and Rich Homie Quan were performing together live under the name Rich Gang?
Yes.
Okay. And tell the ladies and gentlemen, jury, what Rich Gang is.
It's a record label.
Okay. And was Jeffrey a member of Rich Gang?
Yes, to my
Musical
knowledge.
group?
Yes.
And was Rich Homie Quan a member of Rich Gang?
Yes.
And was a man named Brian Williams, you may know him, if you don't know him, that's fine, as Birdman, owning that record label?
Yeah, I think he owned it. I think he owned it. He made it.
Now, did you realize that in January, specifically January 19th of 2015, Rich Homie Quan and Jeffrey were performing together?
January when? What year?
January 19th, 2015.
I don't like remember when I know they performed a lot together. They got a lot of mixtapes together.
A lot of mixtapes together. Okay. Well, let me show you something, see if you this refreshes your memory.
Skipping ahead.
Which are marked. Aaron, FF, box spots, okay?
Okay.
Yes, I'm playing this in 1.5 speed and skipping ahead.
Tell me if
Less downtime.
that exhibit, you're looking at 220 cc, correct?
Yes.
Click, click. Have you seen that before?
You mean the picture?
Yeah.
Yes.
Does it refresh your memory that Jeffrey played with Rich Gang on December, and you could give us a date, I walked away from it.
Does that refresh your memory of the
Oh,
date they played?
December 19th.
Of what year?
I don't think it said a year on here.
Okay.
I don't say the year on here. But around the time would have been 2000, maybe 14, 15, one of those years.
Well, let's go to the next one. That's DD, correct?
Yes,
Do you see that Jeffrey performing with Rich Gang?
yes.
Does it refresh your memory that that performance was in Chicago, Illinois, December 26, 2014?
Objection, Your Honor, as the counsel testified for what's on the document, he was the first.
I'm refreshing his memory. Okay, you see the document?
Yes,
Okay, 220, that's DD, right?
yes,
Have you seen that before?
yes,
Does it refresh your memory?
yes,
Did Jeffrey play with Rich Homie Quan under Rich Gang on December 26, 2014?
yes.
How about the next one, which should be Jeffrey Williams exhibit EE, Aaron?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Do you see that, and have you seen that before?
You mean like the
The flyer, the
Yes.
poster, yeah. And do you see the promotion for New Year's Eve of 2015?
yes,
And Jeffrey playing with Rich Homie Quan under, and Bergman, do you see that?
yes,
And do you see that being, as you said, it's New Year's Eve, it's December 31, 2014?
no, this like 15.
Right, New Year's Eve,
Oh, yeah, it would have been New Year's Eve, so yeah, yes,
Miami, Florida, you see that?
yes,
And then the next one? Have you seen that before, that poster, that advertisement?
Your Honor, objection, I think the case I was reading was on the document, not asking if it helps.
Do you recognize, that's 220 FF, Fox? You see that? Have you seen that?
yeah. I seen this one before with some of these people on all these flyers though.
That's fine. And is it Jeffrey and Rich Homie Quan under Rich Gang?
Your Honor, the objection to counsel testify as to what is on the document, not evidence.
Do you recognize that Jeffrey Williams played with Rich Gang and Rich Homie Quan
Same objection.
from that document? Does that refresh your memory of the date?
After his memory is refreshed, you check the other document and ask him a question. And this one reading the document shows.
Have you seen that document before?
Yes,
And does that refresh your memory that Jeffrey played with Rich Gang, January 18, 2015?
yes,
The question is, do you remember, do you have any recollection of him playing on that particular date?
Okay, do you remember that advertisement and playing on that particular date?
he played everywhere with them.
Now, if you don't remember the date, you were in a horrible accident. You were in the hospital in the beginning of January 2015, right?
Yes,
But you told the ladies and gentlemen jury that God forbid Donovan Thomas was killed while you were in the hospital. Do
I
you
seen it
remember?
on the news. Yeah,
Okay, and that was on January 10th, 2015.
I don't remember the date, but I know I seen it.
But these items that you just looked at and refresh your memory, Jeffrey Williams 220, CC, DD, EE, and FF, they go right through January 10th, 2015. Do you realize that?
Objection, Your Honor, speculation,
Why is that speculation?
because it goes right through the 4 dates that were.
Okay, you testified to this jury that you remember that Jeffrey Williams was playing with Rich Homie Quan December 18, 2014, December 19, 2014, right?
Yes,
December 26, 2014, right?
yes.
That's your lack of personal knowledge, unless Mr. Murphy was at any of these events,
That's-
doesn't know.
That's,
If they performed.
that's
You
not
know what
true.
the flyer says.
December 31, 2014. You aware that they played together? Are you aware?
Yes,
Objection,
Okay.
speculation as to whether or not they actually played the concert.
He just said they played together. That's what I said. Are you aware that they played together? Okay, do you know that they played together on New Year's Eve of 2014 going into 2015?
yes,
Okay, and on same question, January 18, 2015.
yes.
Okay, now, explain to the jury if Jeffrey Williams and Rich Homie Quan had this big falling out or beef to cause Donovan Thomas's death, potentially, how is it that they were playing together 8 days later? If you can explain it to the jury.
Objection, Your Honor, speculation.
All right.
Nice setup. Here's the thing. Mr. Steele knew it was going to be objected to and sustained, but he needed to put that thought into the jury's head because the prosecution alleges that Mr. Williams was involved in the ending of Donovan. And how come, if he was involved, they kept playing together? Yeah, the prosecution really doesn't want it in, and the judge is in the pocket. Which pocket, I don't care, of the prosecution. But sometimes just asking the question is enough to plant the thought into the jury's head.
Let's talk about the rodeo tour. You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. May I approach?
You may, sir.
May I approach?
Have you hit the like button yet, by the way? You all need to hit the like button. We are currently at live viewers 133 and only 80 thumbs up. Seriously,
Yes.
we need to get to 100.
Number 19,
100
And I'm
thumbs
taking
up.
back, just for you to know.
Seriously, folks. You know the drill on
Take a
YouTube.
peek at that and tell me if
You watch
recognize
it.
Mr. Williams,
If
number
you watch
19.
more than 5 minutes, you like it enough to watch it. And that's a thumbs up. Thank you, Sebastian. Skip ahead a bit. Jasmine Hall, done! Yay! And
Do you recognize
boom,
that?
89.
And how do you recognize that?
It's all the tour dates, the hotels and stuff. Just everything about the tour.
Okay, and is that the tour, do you know the name of that tour?
The rodeo tour.
And did you go on that tour,
Yes.
or at least part of it?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move for the admission of Mr. Williams, number 19. Is it 19, sir? Correct. Any objection to Jeffrey Williams, 19?
Yes, here, sir.
Let me see it, please.
Oh, for frick's sake. Reformed convict, stop yelling at me, you huge ass Viking US hillbilly ain't built for that. 92, 8 more. 92, 8 more. Come on, folks, you can do it. And for those who don't know, in August, I will be in the United States. From August 6th or 7th, depending on when the plan lands, I will be in Houston over the weekend, and then I will travel southbound up to, through New Orleans up to Atlanta. So I will be in Atlanta around August 14, 15 maybe. Then I will go straight up to Indiana, maybe a pit stop to visit Valhalla Awaits, another YouTube channel you should subscribe to. He's great. He's fun. And up to Delphi, Indiana, to show the diaper Nazis up there what a real Viking looks like. And there I will say hi to Kaiser, Pineapple, and Mo in the Deep End, who both are residents of Indiana. Am I coming to Sarasota? I don't know. Where's Sarasota? Florida. No, not this year. Sorry, I'm not coming to Florida this year. I have a limited amount of time. I have roughly 3 weeks to get from Houston up to Dave in Michigan. And so I will be traveling from Sweden August 6th, and I will fly back August 23rd. So 2.5 weeks. That's about what I can do during my vacation. Maybe next year, because I want to visit Florida and Steve Gosney. I really do, because he's a great guy. If you don't know who he is, Mr. Gosney, Steve Gosney, is a death penalty appellate lawyer. That's all he does. He appeals death penalties. So yeah, that's what, if LawTube and True Crime were about competence, he would be the biggest channel of us all. Because that guy's knowledge about law, I can only dream of. And he's such a good guy. Southwest Virginia. Rob, Law and Lumber is in Virginia. Next year, if my channel grows and I can afford it, yes, I will try to make several, at least I hope to do, if my channel keeps growing and there is some revenue from it, I will try to make a US trip each year. Oh, I forgot. Thank you, Sebastian. Dun, dun, dun. Cyborg counter 134. thank you, Sebastian Miller. Thank you so much. And while we wait for that one, hold on here. Where do I have it? Where do I have it? Dun dun dun. This is my secondary channel. Yes, I do have one. It has nothing to do with law. What I'm showing you there is this is my secondary channel. Oop. This is me reading in old Scandinavian folk tales, lore, sagas, and stuff like that. I started it a month and a half ago. I have 6 or 7 sagas out. So if you, maybe not for the smallest kids, because it's old sagas and stories. But at least 9, 10, 11 maybe, they can start to hear these old stories and sagas. And I have a bunch of them out, and I will try to keep at a schedule of 1 saga a week. So that's my secondary channel, because we all need something to refresh. Because after all these trials and all this technical stuff, just sitting down, leaning back and listen from, I have an 8-minute and a 25-minute. I mean, or you just put them up there to just listen to them. All right, back to the trial. Yes, oh, Teddy O'Hearn. East of the Sun, West of the Moon is the latest one. It came out yesterday. And that's a beautiful story. I really, really enjoyed reading that one. East of the Sun, West of the Moon. It's a classic one. It's an old Norwegian saga. Let's get back to the trial.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm re-handing you, who's at the bench of the court, Mr. Number 19. You recognize the exhibit number 19. Would you do me a courtesy and turn to the 3rd page?
Okay.
And on that page, I'm not looking at the exhibit. Is there a list of cities and dates?
Yes.
Okay, we're on the same page. Did you go on that tour, part of it?
Yes.
And did you start out on that tour?
What you mean, like when I began?
Yes.
I can't really remember, but I think I did, though, if I'm not mistaken.
And was it on a plane? Was it on a, what type of transportation was it?
Oh, no, yeah, I did start. We left on the bus, and then I think we met him in another state. He flew.
And who's him?
Legit.
Okay. Now, by looking at the 3rd page of Mr. Williams' number 19, just look at it by yourself. Are you familiar with and did you understand those to be the tours, the cities and the stops where performances by Jeffrey was going to be?
Yes.
All right. Your Honor, I move for, and I'll link it up later with other witnesses, but I move for the admission of Mr. Williams, number 19, the outside, the back, front cover, back cover, and page 3.
No objection to the front page and page 3 only.
Okay. I want to ask you a question, okay?
Okay.
All right. Describe the bus to the ladies and gentlemen jury that you're talking about.
A tour bus.
And when you say a tour bus, some people may not have ever had the privilege of being on one. Can you explain what that is to a jury?
It's a bus. You go to different states on for, different reasons, but it got like a bus, like a tour bus driver. It got like probably, the one we had probably had like 10, 11 beds on it. It got like a bedroom in the back and stuff like that.
Did it have sinks and toilets and things like
Yeah,
that?
toilet, refrigerator,
Running water?
all that.
Okay. And where did the tour, was the tour with another artist? Do you remember who that was?
Yes.
Who was the other artist?
Travis Scott.
And is he also well-known to you? Is he a well-known musical performer, rap?
Yes.
Did he just play at the Super Bowl?
Objection.
All right. Where did, and tell the ladies and gentlemen the date, you could use that, obviously it's in evidence. Where did the tour start and what city? Where did the tour start and what date?
Saturday, February 15th to 28th, to the 28th or something.
And what city was that?
St. Anna, California.
Right. And if you could just go down and read, if you don't mind, read to the jurors the date and the city, just in order, from Mr. Williams, number 19, page 3.
Sunday, March 1st through the 15th. St. Anna, California, that's a show date. Monday, March 2nd through the 15th. Tucson, I think they were there. Tucson, Arizona. That's a show day. I remember that one. Tuesday, March 3rd through the 15th, travel date.
When you say through the 15th, is that 2015?
Oh, that what it might be. Yeah, I think that what it is.
Oh, that's my fault.
Yeah, because it keeps saying 15. Yeah,
That's okay.
but
I'm sorry I interrupted you. March 3rd.
okay, so yeah, the
March 3rd,
15th. Yeah.
2015.
All right, that's the travel date. And then Wednesday, March the 4th, 2015, Denver, Colorado. That's a show date. Thursday, March the 5th, 2015, travel date. Friday, March the 6th, 2015, Milwaukee, a show date. Saturday, March 7th, 2015, Chicago, Illinois. That's a show day. I don't know what that means though, but it's a show day though. And then Sunday, March the 8th, Chicago, Illinois, that's a show date. Monday, March 9th, 2015, Detroit, Michigan, a show date. Tuesday, March 10th, 2015, Toronto, Canada. They got another word right there, but I don't know what that means. Canada, TS show date. And then Wednesday, March 11th, 2015, Buffalo, New York, a show date. Thursday, March the 20th,
It's just reading here.
New
So we
Orleans
can
show date.
skip that.
Okay. 26 Monday, before 7, go California Day, April, what they mean, the show date. Boys, that's a show date. Home.
Okay. Now, that was a lot of tour dates within that month plus period. Is that true?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, that's Jeffrey's schedule for years before that. Is that true? Jeffrey performed multiple times a week. I'm not saying throughout the United States, but throughout Georgia and the Southeast years before that. True?
Yes, by the time he was used to it.
Now, you were invited to go on that tour. You were on the tour bus, right?
Yes.
And you had certain obligations like sell merch. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And you were there to assist, carry things, whatever
Yeah,
needed to be
I
done.
couldn't do much though because I had my accident.
But you were there to enjoy yourself as well as assist to make this a successful tour. True?
Yes.
And there were business managers on the tour bus, right?
Yes.
And there were a lot of different, I'm not asking you to know, but Travis Scott's people were there. All true?
Yes.
Okay. And this was a lot of work, right?
Yes.
Now, there came a period of time, and it should be March 26, 2015, if you look at Mr. Williams, number 19, the third page, in Phoenix, Arizona. You were
Yes.
actually sent home. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And you were sent home because, I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm not accusing you of anything. But there was a belief that you and others may have been committing crime. Is that true?
Yes.
And Jeffrey, again, told you, I can't put up with this. Is that true? You were told that you had to leave because of that. True? That's why you were asked to leave or put on a plane to fly back to Atlanta, right? You knew that was the reason that you were put on a plane to leave. Goes to his state of mind. You understood. Why was the reason you were sent home? Tell the jurors.
I stole some money.
Okay. Now, to your knowledge, did Jeffrey repay that store owner who lost the money?
Yes.
Now, you told the ladies and gentlemen of the jury that Jeffrey, and to your knowledge, I call him Mr. Donovan Thomas, but you refer to him as not, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
All right. They were friendly. True?
To my knowledge, yes.
And your child's or children's mother is also related to Donovan Thomas
Yeah, they ain't blood, but they call each other
because they were from the same area and known each other their whole lives.
Yes.
They were close.
Yes.
And you had no problem with Donovan Thomas, right?
No.
You liked him.
Yes.
Now, before going on that tour bus, so it's after you're in the hospital and before the tour bus, you could use that. It should be the, in March, the end of February, March, when you're going on the tour bus. Jeffrey already made it known to you that he was not happy with you, right? Jeffrey wasn't speaking much with you before this tour. Is that true?
He wasn't speaking at all until I had my accident.
In fact, he separated himself from you. I'm not saying,
Yes,
that's
it's true.
Then when you had your accident, then he reached out to you and hoped that you would feel better. True?
Yes, he can't see me.
Yeah, hoping he was bringing well wishes, whatever the right word. He was
Yes.
hoping that you recover.
Yes.
And he allowed you to come on this tour, right?
Yes.
You've never experienced anything like that before, have you? Driving around the United States?
That was one of the best, well, however long it was, but one of the best times I had.
And you were there to potentially get a job with YSL record label, right?
Yes.
If you could show that you would work hard, you can be an asset and be a contributor.
Yes.
True?
Yes.
That didn't work out, did it?
No.
I think you didn't get that job.
No.
And in fact, after that tour, again, Jeffrey wasn't speaking with you. True?
Yes.
In fact, since before your accident, in 2000, sometime 2013, until your accident, Jeffrey hardly spoke with you. True?
Yes.
I've been asked to give a Viking hoorah. Oh, Jesus. Wrong button. Sorry. Let's get that back up. Hoorah!
And then after your accident and going on this tour, when you were sent home, Jeffrey hardly spoke with you. True?
Yes.
In fact, the last time and the only time that you really spoke with Jeffrey since being sent home from that tour was on the day that you were arrested on July 15, 2015. True?
Yes.
And Jeffrey was arrested that same day for terroristic threats at a mall. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Do you remember seeing him in a Fulton County jail?
Yeah.
Do you remember what he told you?
Yeah.
Hearsay.
I asked if you,
Bliano, Fever, N.Starow, you bring up a lot of great points. How come the defense doesn't call out the judge for his bias towards the prosecution? Are they poor defense attorneys or afraid to call the judge out? They have asked the judge to recuse himself. They have called for sanctions against the prosecution. They have called for the removal of Prosecutor Love as a prosecutor. This is a standing objection and has been for some time. So they don't bring it up all the time because it's already on the record. So that's if that was handled 2 weeks ago on the week they had hearings. So that is why they don't bring it up all the time.
do you remember what he told you? Did he tell you something? In
Yes.
Fulton County Jail?
Yes.
How do you take it, what he told you?
Objection to be based on hearsay.
Its effect on the listener.
I'm confused. You can ask, I'm lost now.
What Jeffrey told you, how did you take that? How did you understand it?
Wait, what he told me when I seen him when we was locked up?
Yeah.
What did you do as a result of what Jeffrey told you?
I'm confused. Can you ask that again? I can hear you.
So what did you do, if anything, as a result of what Jeffrey told you?
I took it upon myself right then to start doing better.
Since that day in the Fulton County Jail, July 15, 2015, have you spoken with Jeffrey Williams?
Ask that again?
Yeah, since the day that you were locked up, I'm not saying you remember the day that Jeffrey was arrested for the terroristic threat at the mall in the Fulton County Jail. After that day, have you spoken with Jeffrey Williams at all?
No.
Did Jeffrey Williams ever, directly or indirectly, pay for your lawyer?
No.
Did Jeffrey Williams ever, directly or indirectly, put money on your account in jail or prison?
No.
Did Jeffrey Williams ever, directly or indirectly, ever bond you out of jail?
No.
Again, goes to credibility because now the jury knows that he is not allowed to lie on the stand. And if the prosecution believes he does, they are revoking his plea deal. So Mr. Murphy has a lot on the line for this.
Now, the day you were arrested on the Dexter Montgomery warrant, July 15, 2015. And if you don't remember that date, that's fine, but you were arrested outside Jeffrey's home. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Now, the prosecutor was asking you about that. You were arrested. You were never inside Jeffrey's home, right?
No.
You actually heard about Jeffrey being arrested for the mall terroristic threat incident, and you came to Jeffrey's home to see what happens, right?
I heard it was his house, so I came.
And then while there, a police officer recognized you, asked you if you're DK. You said yes, and they had a warrant. God bless you. They had a warrant for you. True?
I don't even think they asked me who I was. They just threw me on the ground.
Okay. The police threw you on the ground.
Huh?
And you were arrested for the Dexter Montgomery warrant, right?
Yes.
The prosecutor asked you, since you told on Nard, his name, do you know his real name? Demise McMullen, do you know that name?
No.
Okay, you know Nard?
Yeah.
The prosecutor asked you, since you told on Nard, did Jeffrey cut you off? Remember something like that? Did he ever speak to you again?
Yes.
He asked you about other people too. I'm just limited to Jeffrey.
Yes.
The truth is Jeffrey Williams was not talking with you before that. True?
That's true.
Again, goes to credibility. If somebody does something really stupid, Young Thug cuts you off. And then when in his case, if he gets injured, very badly injured, then he can reach out with well wishes. That does not sound like a person who asks others to commit crimes for a gang. Does it?
I want to talk with you about the tour bus of a performer known as Lil Wayne. His name is Dwayne Carter. I want to ask you about that, okay?
Okay.
Now, you didn't shoot that bus, true? You had nothing to do with shooting that
No, I
bus.
don't.
You know that bus, or at least you heard on the news, was shot, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any information to supply to this jury that Jeffrey Williams had anything to do with the plan, the encouragement to shoot that bus?
No.
Girl down 504. Good afternoon. The state's supposed to have a surprise witness take the stand this week. Someone not on the witness list. Yes. That is an expert witness about some cell phone data or cell tower data, something of that sort. And they will have a hearing about it. At least that's what I said this morning. So I assume they will have a hearing about it later this week. Ghostry says, Young Thug sounds like a father figure. Technically, it seems like it. Trying to get people out of trouble. Inviting even known criminals on the tour to get them a job. And he's done that over and over again. Trying, if anything is in furtherance, it is Young Thug trying to get people out of crime. That should be applauded, not charged. How many people could Young Thug have helped during this trial, during this pre-trial, during his incarceration? How many people have this prosecution hindered from getting help due to this? Dozens? Maybe. Maybe more.
Let me ask you if he knows. It's a supposed conspiracy. Tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
No.
In fact, on the day that this tour bus, of Mr. Carter, Lil Wayne, was fired upon, you know Jeffrey was in Louisiana performing that day.
I heard it.
Okay. Now, do you know whether Jeffrey was extremely upset that that bus was fired upon of Lil Wayne?
Especially on speculation as to what he.
You told the police, according to the prosecutor's questions of you, that Jeffrey was mad at you because you didn't ensure that his sister, Dolly, you know who Dolly is?
Yes.
You know her real name's Alexis?
Yes.
Okay. Was at the club. Do you remember something like that? Do you remember being asked that question?
Yes.
And you said something like that Jeffrey was mad at you because she was at that club. Remember, or something like that. Remember?
Yes.
The truth is Jeffrey never asked you to protect Dolly, did he?
No.
He never asked you to protect his mother, did he?
No.
He had private security. This is 2015. Do you remember the bus shooting was April 26, 2015?
I think that's when it was.
Do you remember it being the date of the birth of Trantavia Stevens? Or Tick, you remember the same day?
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right.
By that time, Jeffrey is a super celebrity, right?
Yes.
He had his own security. True?
Yes.
Now, Jeffrey constantly, just like you said, well, I was just talking about you. Okay, forget about my question. You said earlier when you allowed me to ask you questions that you never would want anybody, especially your children, to grow up the way you grew up. You remember saying something like that?
Yes.
You never forgot where you came from, did you?
No.
You never forgot those struggles?
No.
And you're doing everything you can now to work every day to help support lawfully your family, true?
Yes.
And you know that Jeffrey never forgot that there's other people there living in poverty?
Objective speculation as to what.
Do you know whether Jeffrey has given opportunities to countless people in poverty to get lawful jobs?
Yes.
I want to talk with you about Jeffrey. If you know, did you observe, would he let people stay at his house if they didn't have a place to live?
Of course.
Did you know whether Jeffrey would allow people to use his cars if they needed a car for transportation?
He let me use it a lot of times.
And did you even have to ask him?
No, I would though, but no, you don't have to.
And do you know whether Jeffrey would rent cars for people who said that they needed a car because they couldn't rent it themselves?
Yeah, he did it before.
From approximately July 15, 2015, I'm using the day you were arrested outside of Jeffrey's home, okay? Until approximately January 2022, you were imprisoned in the Fulton County Jail as well as the state of Georgia prison system. Is that true?
Yes.
And that's serving the sentence for the Dexter Montgomery shooting as well as it's ran concurrent, meaning together. You know what concurrent means?
Yes.
With the Adrian Bean incident. Is that true?
Yes.
You wiped out both those cases?
Yes.
Or resolved, I guess is a better word. I want to show you, if it's okay, I just need to find it.
The indication here is that not only did he get a plea deal and 10 years probation, the remaining time he had of those two crimes gone. All he needed to do was to sign that paper, and then he could go home to his family. Who wouldn't?
Dexter Montgomery. Yeah, may I approach the honorable court reporter? You might be in front. May I approach you, sir?
Yes.
Well, you tell me, are you looking at information for Dexter Montgomery?
No, I know that she said 18 is 18.
Do you see a 16 right there?
No.
Hey, Cassandra over at Rumble. Hello.
Yes, sir.
You want to take a look at it with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Looking at Oregon Evidence States Exhibit 18CC, collect, Charlie, you see that?
Yes.
This is the indictment. Indictment number 15 SC 138234. You see that?
Yes.
And it's State of Georgia versus Mr. Murphy. That's you, right?
Yes.
This was returned October 13, 2015.
Yes.
And you see your signature here?
Yes.
With the Honorable Jacoby Hudson's signature, if you recognize it?
Yes.
And do you see here that this deals with the April 12, 2015 incident involving Mr. Montgomery? You see all that?
Yes.
And there's multiple counts, right?
Yes.
Jeffrey Williams is not charged in this indictment, is he?
No.
Then on, no, I'm just clipping it because the staple came out. On 19CC, you see this?
Yes.
And this is your guilty plea in our case that the jury is trying.
Yes.
And I'd like to show you in count 1, overt act.
Reformed convict says, I think Big Fanny was going to use this for Attorney General of Georgia next, then the DC. Not impossible, because I do know that her aim was to go for the Attorney General of Georgia election that takes place this fall. So she would go from district attorney, and at the end of her term, which ends now on December 31st of this year, she will go directly to the Attorney General seat. I doubt that will happen. She might be re-elected as a district attorney. I don't know. She has a lot of support, and I don't know why, because she lied in church. She's a fornicator of a married man, and she helped that married man lie in his court documents in his divorce. You don't do that if you have a sense of ethics and justice. In my opinion, my personal opinion, Fannie Willis is as bad of a criminal as this guy used to be. But she is a district attorney. So she has immunity from most of her misconduct.
30. Do you see here with Demise McMullen? You know that gentleman's Nard,
Yes.
as well as you. You see your name?
Yes.
On April 12, 2015.
Yes.
And it's attempted murder on Dexter Montgomery. You see that?
Yes.
And then overt act 31, same two people, Mr. McMullen and you.
Yes.
Same date, 4/12/15, which is April 12, 15.
Yes.
Attempted murder
Yes.
goes Mr. Davis. Then on overt act 32, again, Mr. McMullen and you, same date, same incident involving Mr. Montgomery, right?
Yes.
Same thing for overt act 33, same date, you and Mr. McMullen, right?
Yes.
Same thing for overt act 34, same date, 4/12/15, possession of firearm by convicted felon for you.
Yes.
And then same date, 4/12 or April 12, 2015, Mrs. Demise McMullen, possession of firearm by convicted felon. You see that?
Yes.
And then the same date, overt act 36, April 12, 2015, Mr. McMullen and you, participation in criminal street gang activity. You see that?
Yes.
And then overt act 37, April 15th. Excuse me, that's another date. That's April 15th. So we're done with April 12th, Mr. Montgomery, right?
Yes.
This indictment was returned.
Just so you know, I might have gotten actual footage from Fannie Willis and Nathan Wade's trip to Aruba. Let me show it to you. Let's get back to the trial.
August 5, 2022, correct?
Yes.
Was Jeffrey Williams charged in any of those overt acts?
No.
Now, I want you to look at the next overt act in count 1, which is overt act 39.
Yes.
You see April 26, 2015, Jimmy Winfrey is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon concerning Dwayne Carter, AKA Lil Wayne.
Yes.
By shooting at a bus.
Yes.
And then overt act 40, which is also April 26, 2015, charges Jimmy Winfrey, participation in criminal street gang activity.
Yes.
Again, on the same date. You see that?
Yes.
You see overt act 41 in count 1 goes to a different event, right?
Yes.
Is Jeffrey Williams charged with anything in the indictment that the jury is considering concerning the tour bus shooting on April 26, 2015?
No.
Mr. Murphy, you explained that you, Mr. Williams, Mr. Stevens, Trentavious Stevens, and I heard sometimes yes, sometimes no, Mr. Crenshaw or Armando Crenshaw, Armando, you know that person?
Yes.
That you all created the name YSL. Remember that?
Yes.
And you said that it started out as a record label.
Yes.
Jeffrey wanted a record label because people like Lil Wayne had a record label, right?
Yeah, we all wanted the record label.
And Jeffrey started to sing in his songs about YSL, right?
Yes.
And as Jeffrey's popular, he was popular by the time that YSL was being used, right? By the time you guys created, you being Mr. Stevens, Jeffrey, yourself, maybe or maybe not, Mondo, Jeffrey was a popular artist.
Yes, way before we came up with YSL.
Remember that name? Mondo. YSL Mondo is not mentioned in this trial or in these charges at all, because YSL Mondo, even though everybody says he's one of the creators of YSL, founding members, he's not in this trial because Fannie Willis was his defense attorney. Here's my theory. The basis for this entire trial is information Fannie Willis got through Mondo. That's attorney-client privileged information. In my opinion, and that, if not for her being Mondo's defense attorney, I don't think this case would ever have happened. But she is an unethical bitch who does anything. She will throw anyone under the bus if she can, but she can't throw Mondo under the bus. But YSL Mondo might be called to the witness stand by the defense. And I hope to all that is holy that every piece of her misconduct is brought into light. Everything.
He was already
booming, right?
in Atlanta, yeah, in Georgia.
And Jeffrey would then sing about YSL. You familiar with that in songs?
Yes.
And when he did that, people adopted or started to say YSL, and they would sing about it too in their rap songs. Is that true?
Yes.
If he knows it. And are you aware that people would put tattoos on their body of YSL?
Yes.
And are you aware that people would have Jeffrey's face, his image tattooed to their body?
Yes.
And you said something like at some point it just got out of hand. YSL was just
everywhere.
Yes,
Remember that?
yes,
When we say everywhere, it's not just talking about Cleveland Avenue or Atlanta, Georgia. You're talking about all throughout the United States and the world, right?
yes,
People were on the internet posting about YSL
Yes.
from other countries, right?
yes.
It was growing.
Yeah,
right?
it was
It was
like that I
unbelievable.
never seen before.
And some people used it, like Jeffrey, for music, right?
Objection, speculation.
If he knows. Well, let's talk about that. You know that Jeffrey incorporated YSL? Do you know that?
Yeah, I later found it out. I didn't know back then, but
That's fine.
he did.
Do you know that YSL has employees?
Yeah,
You know that it is part of a publicly traded company? You know what I mean by that? If you don't, just say.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Do you know it's been bought by another record label? You familiar with that?
Objection, speculation. He doesn't know.
I sustain the
Are you
objection.
familiar that Jeffrey signed with another record label at all?
A major label, yeah.
A major label,
Yeah.
right? And there are people who work on that, lawyers, right? Work for the label?
Yeah.
Business managers, right?
Yes,
Accountants,
all
Correct.
that, yeah, all that.
and people who run studios, own studios, and the like, right?
Yes,
There's other people who use YSL and they may commit crime.
Michael Lauderdale says YSL Mondo is on the witness list for the defense. They are calling him. Yeah. I can't wait. Sadly, that is months away because the prosecution says there is at least 120 trial days for their case left of their case in chief. 120, that's 4.5 months. And remember what I said. So far in this trial, we are at day 60 after 4.5 months. We aren't even halfway through the prosecution's case in chief. As I said this a long time now, I would be surprised if this trial ends this year. And once the prosecution says they have 120 trial days left, I would be surprised if the prosecution's case in chief ends this year. Yes, no Kuro-san. 120-day, that's only direct testimony, not cross, not redirect, not hearings, not half days. We will be here to at least, okay, next summer, maybe we will be done with this case. But then you also have the defense case. We have the defense case in chief, and then you have the prosecution's rebuttal to the defense case in chief. I mean, currently, I'll be happy if we are done before next summer.
Right?
yes.
Objection, speculation.
I sustain the objection.
They've been talking about it the entire time.
I sustain the objection as to form, Mr. Steele. You can rephrase.
And does the part that includes criminality, YSL, does that have anything to do with Jeffrey Williams?
Objection, Your Honor. It'll be speculation and
I sustain.
legal conclusion.
I sustain.
It's not a legal conclusion. He's allegedly a member of a conspiracy.
I sustain the objection, sir.
Prosecution really don't want him to answer that question because they know through his plea deal, he has to tell the truth. And they don't want the truth to get out there. How come Warner accepted
What you pled
a
guilty
charge
to,
with RICO as well?
YSL, and announced.
I assume money. Warner is a multi-billion-dollar company. If they even tries, they would. If you think Trump's lawyers are good at digging up dirt, oh, these lawyers knows dirt and are not afraid to use it to protect their client.
YSL is a criminal street gang. That was part of your guilty plea, right?
Yes.
Are there multiple facets to YSL? Are there YSL different things to different people? True.
Objection, speculation.
If he knows.
I sustain the objection.
Do you know personally that YSL is also a lawful entity? Lawful.
Can you dumb it down? I don't understand what you.
Is YSL, people in YSL not committing crime?
Of course, yes.
Okay. And you said earlier that people in YSL could be Bloods, members of criminal street gang Bloods, right?
Yes,
They could be members of criminal street gang Crip, right?
yes,
Then I heard you say they could be Muslim,
yes.
right? And I heard you say they could be lawful people, right?
Like a fan.
Fans.
Yeah.
business managers, right?
Yes.
Performers
Yes.
or artists, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Reform Congress says Warner would be the head of YSL now. Yeah, they bought it. Slidey
You were
Pie
asked
over,
about the tattoo, certain tattoos on your body, but you remember
Slidey Pie over at Rumble says, my prediction is they will lose too many jurors and there will be a mistrial. Yeah, that would be my prediction as well. They already lost 3 jurors. They are down to 12 jurors and 3 alternates after 4.5 months. If this goes on for 1.5 years more, there's no way they can keep all the jurors. There's no way. And sadly, this prosecution will keep these guys in jail until next trial.
the prosecutor asked you about Haiti,
Yes.
and you explained that one of Jeffrey's daughters is named Haiti. True?
Yes.
Tell ladies and gentlemen, jury, whether Haiti is a location where you grew up.
That was a nickname for a location we grew up.
Oh, really? Thank you, Michael. I did not know this. I haven't checked out the defense witness list yet. Some of the Trump lawyers are on the defense list too. Ashley Merchant is on the defense list too. Oh. Now I see the tactics here. Oh. They are at least going to try to air out everything about Fannie Willis. Oh, I can't wait. And as I told you all, I'm covering this case gavel to gavel. I started covering this in May of last year. Covering it now, either live, recaps, videos. I'm going to cover it until it's a mistrial. If it's a mistrial, if it's a verdict, not guilty, guilty, whatever. So I'm going to be here until, and if it's a mistrial, then we will have a 6-month break while they try to find another jury. Then I will cover other cases more. But I I might retire before this trial is over.
Yeah, I may have one moment.
You may, sir.
Yeah, so hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Just to be on the safe side, even if you don't check every stream I do, you do want to check some of it, because I will be a constant in this
Mr. Murphy.
trial.
By testifying today, you have to testify truthfully, right?
Yes.
You're under oath.
Yes.
And you have a plea agreement where if the prosecutors believe that you did not testify truthfully, you can be revoked.
Yes.
And revoked means that your probation can be pulled away from you and you could go back and be incarcerated, right?
Yes.
And up to, I believe, 9 years. And if I'm wrong,
I think it's,
more.
it might be 9.
It's a considerable amount of time, right?
If something want to happen.
Good point. I said it all the time. He has to, even if the prosecution says we think he didn't. No,
May I have 1 second, please?
You may, sir.
they didn't do it against Slug. And that was a few months ago. They didn't do it against Mr. Bean. They haven't done it against Mr. White. And I assume they won't do this against Mr. Murphy. Okay, let's skip ahead.
All right. How about we do this? Why don't we recess and come back at 2 o'clock?
All right. That, ladies and gentlemen, we got up to lunch today. I think they started somewhat. I haven't checked. Here's the thing, and I said this. Recap, then live up to lunch. Wednesday, because Tuesday is a half day in this trial, I will do recap and move up to live on Wednesday. Same Friday. I will do Wednesday afternoon, the half day on Thursday, up to live on Friday. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday will be my streams this week, since the court decided to only have half days the rest of the week. Oh, this was an interesting day. Really interesting. I really like both Mr. Shard's and Mr. Steele's cross-examination. Now, that's not uncommon. They have been really, really good. Really, really good. And yeah, I assume, yeah, that's it for me for today. Check out my other things I have on this channel or my secondary channel. It's pinned on the top of the chat. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to try to translate this cluster F of a trial to you. See you tomorrow or Wednesday. Thank you for being here. Hug your family. Unless your family's crap, then screw them and give your love to the people who deserve it. Okay? Bye-bye.